Can one girl in a small town, an architect in a major city, and a suburban high school coach shape the future of the United States? Yes, they can. Because every 10 years, the census gives us that power. You can shape your future by responding to the 2020 census. Where do we need new roads to make our lives easier? Where will new school programs help our children thrive? Where could a new health clinic benefit neighborhoods? The 2020 census will inform these decisions and shape how billions of dollars will be distributed to communities like yours each year. And in 2020, you can respond to the census online, by phone, or by mail. It's easy, safe, and important. Make sure you and everyone you know is counted. Now is the time for you to get involved. Your community needs you. Together, we can educate and excite, inspire and make sure every voice is heard. Together, we can shape our future.
I'm Phyllis Jackson. Welcome to Stay at Home Connect.
The drug dexamethasone is being hailed as a major breakthrough in the fight against coronavirus. Researchers in the UK held clinical trials involving 2,100 COVID-19 patients. They say the inexpensive, widely used steroid reduced death rates by 1/3 among the most critically ill hospitalized patients on ventilators. Researchers stress that among COVID-19 patients requiring no respiratory support, dexamethasone provided no benefits. The FDA revokes the emergency use authorization for hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine. The organization says both medications are unlikely to be effective in treating COVID-19 and have led to serious cardiac adverse events and other major side effects. Music Midtown 2020 has been rescheduled due to the coronavirus. The massive music event will be held September 18th and 19th of 2021. Current ticket holders don't need to worry. Organizers say the tickets will be valid for the new dates. Full refunds are available for those who cannot attend.
Before returning to play, kids, coaches, and parents can follow these tips to protect themselves and others from COVID-19.
The CDC issues tips on keeping kids safe while participating in sports. Among the recommendations, bring your own equipment and don't share towels or any items you would use to wipe your face or hands. The City of Atlanta designates this week as Cheek Week to spread the word about the need for Black and African American donors to donate bone marrow. Atlanta City Council member Andre Dickens issues a statement regarding Cheek Week, calling it an SOS to the Black and African American community, as well as all from ethnically diverse backgrounds. It reads in part, "Please step up and help save a life, because we are the cure. We have the power within us to help change one more disparity affecting Black lives, and it starts with a simple cheek swab."
Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matt Westmoreland. I am chair of the Community Development and Human Services Committee. I would like to welcome you to the regularly scheduled June 23rd, 2020 meeting of this committee. I have been joined by my colleagues, Madeline Archibong, Carla Smith, and Amir Faroki. Two of our colleagues are at a funeral this afternoon and will be joining us once that has concluded. And I will announce their presence as they join us. I would like to start this meeting by making a motion to adopt our agenda. Is there a second?
Second, Smith.
Thank you. Motion by Westmoreland, second by Smith. All in favor, please vote electronically.
I'll need to do a voice vote. I apologize. This is Archibong, and I vote yes. One moment, please. Vote is open. Vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda has been adopted.
Thank you very much. Next up, I would like to make a motion to approve our minutes. Is there a second?
Second, Archibong. The vote is open.
Four yeas, 0 nays. Our minutes are adopted. Thank you very much. All right, colleagues, we have two presentations today. We're going to take those presentations right now at the beginning of our meeting. No action will be taken at the conclusion of either of those, but want to be mindful of the time for those who are going to be presenting to us from Invest Atlanta and Workforce Atlanta. And then we are going to move into public comment, which will take approximately 1 hour and 17 minutes. We have 86 messages, which we will all hear before we take any action on our regular agenda. So with that, I'm going to hand things over first to our partners at Invest Atlanta. They presented to us at the last meeting. All of us know that Invest has been, over the last several months, working through creating a new strategic plan focused on economic mobility. The conversation that we had at the beginning of the last meeting was about the landscape analysis that had taken place, all the data gathering and work on the front end. Today's presentation will focus on the programming and goal setting, and will be an opportunity for us to provide our feedback to what has been presented so far, to the draft key performance indicators, Councilmember Archibong, that are before us, as well as to learn more about next steps. This group will come back to us at our next meeting on July 14th, where the full strategy will be presented. The Invest Atlanta Board will have an opportunity to weigh in 2 days later, and then the full council will take a vote on the approval of this plan at our August 17th meeting. So with that, as we move into phase 2 of this conversation, I will hand things over to Dr. Eloisa Klementich and her team to present today's presentation.
Yes. Thank you, Council Member. Just sound check. Will you guys hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Again, thank you, Council Members. I appreciate and recognize you guys got a very robust agenda, so I'll try to make this touch all the important points, but at the time, be respectful of your time. So today's presentation, as the Council Member and Council Chair has highlighted, is really an overview of the economic development strategy. Its details is going to talk about implementation, background, and then the adjustments we have made as part of COVID-19. I want to, again, I'll be brief and concise because I want to make sure that I leave enough time for Q&A questions and make sure that we've incorporated any of your comments. Next slide, slide number 2. So So the outline will look as follows. First, we'll explain COVID-19, the crisis, and how it's affected the plan. 2, I will highlight the central focus on economic mobility, then describe the high-level objectives, just followed by the description of how we will deliver these, and then talk through some of the planning to measure its impact through key performance indicators. And finally, we heard during the last session, and want to make sure that I highlight here, some of the community engagement piece to this presentation, to the strategy. Slide number 3. Councilmember did a great job of highlighting what is the community engagement, the data gathering, the landscape, if you recall, that was presented by enterprise partners. Today's presentation, I want to specifically call out and thank Bloomberg for all of their support, but really this presentation today is to focus on programming and goal setting. So we're going to look at key performance indicators, programming, and performance indicators, and make sure that we incorporate any of the comments you may have regarding this plan and how we are measuring success. And then to the council members' point, we will meet again in next month at CDHS to present the full strategy to the Invest Atlanta board and then full council, and then beginning the work of implementation as soon as possible. Slide number 4. The goal is, and has always have been for Invest Atlanta, is to create more equitable and a resilient Atlanta. As we know, COVID-19 has shown a bright light on the fragilities and vulnerabilities of the U.S. economy and the disproportionate negative impact being felt by communities of color in particular. Make no mistake that Atlanta has been and will continue to be hard hit by the crisis. Nevertheless, it is our goal, it is our commitment and our responsibility to ensure that our economy emerges from this crisis more resilient and equitable than it was before. Slide number 5. To this end, following COVID-19 outbreak, Invest Atlanta joined a Bloomberg Associates cohort of 15 leading cities from around the country with the goal of 1, understanding the likely impacts of the economy using data and modeling, and 2, sharing toolkits and best practices on how to respond. Through this cohort, we received access to specific economic forecasts and projections for the Atlanta MSA region. And you'll find this data and information in much more depth in your appendix of this presentation. Conversation, I want to bring your attention to 2 key takeaways. So what Oxford presented was what we should expect for the economy and what we should expect for jobs. If you look at the graph in front of you, it shows the jobs impact. So basically from Q4 of 2019, so around October of last year, to what will be October or Q4 of this year, 2020, we expect that the unemployment will shrink about 19.7%. That's about 568,000 jobs. We're seeing that the greatest loss of jobs are coming in the sectors of accommodation, food, admin, services, and retail. In retail, if we look at then recovery, so if we go to 2019 Q4, we expect the recovery of the economy, of these jobs, to come back by 2024 Q4. So you're looking at a 42-month recovery in terms of jobs. In terms of the economy, the next slide, we will see that from 2019 Q4 to 2020 Q4, so last October to this October, they're predicting that the economy will shrink about 12.2%. Again, except for healthcare, all industries across the board are going to be negatively impacted. We expect for the economy to recover to the levels of 2019 Q4 about 18 months. So we are incorporating this and taking this in account when it comes to the strategy. So let's move to slide number 7. In the strategy for this economic development strategy in particular, we put it into 3 phases. So as I requested last month in a memo that I sent, It was we needed more time to revisit timing and the scale of the interventions to align with the phases of this health crisis and economic downturn, so we could contemplate the impact of potential federal support and the economic climate based on the information we could gather at the time. Where we are now is that there will be a three-phase approach to recovery. First is response, second would be adaptation, and third would be recovery. In the response phase, which is where we are looking at reopening safely, and it's providing urgent access to capital and supporting people who have lost their jobs. In phase two, the focus is on business and workers during reopening that were hit the hardest by the recession and either need to change their plans or be retrained in order to succeed in the post-pandemic economy. And in phase three, we look at long-term recovery to ensure that all Atlantans can participate in the sector and the jobs and will be leading the resurgence. If we can turn to slide 8, I wanted to emphasize that all across these phases, we will always focus on finding the pathway to economic mobility and the wealth creation for the most disinvested communities, and specifically people of color. They have never had their fair share nor the opportunity to participate in the benefit of economic growth and have been made more vulnerable, we have seen through the data, during the COVID-19 crisis. Slide number 9. What have we done? So there are going to be 5 key objectives to the plan. The first will be attract, create more good jobs. This will mean to attract and help businesses create and retain good jobs, which pay the middle wages and provide employer-sponsored health care, with particular focus on jobs that do not require a college degree. The second objective is help Atlantis to access good jobs. This will be working very closely with Workforce Atlanta, getting individuals placed and trained for the jobs of the future. Number 3, objective 3, support local small businesses. Here, our focus will be to help our small businesses survive the downturn, adapt and thrive with a particular focus on businesses in disinvested neighborhoods. 4, invest in disinvested neighborhoods. Here, it's make our disinvested neighborhoods more livable with all the services that residents need. And our 5th objective is to provide more affordable housing, to help more Atlantans access affordable housing that can meet them where they are. Each of these objectives is defined in more detail and their key findings in the appendix of this presentation. Okay, in slide number 10, as I mentioned earlier, we have done a huge amount of work providing details across each objective using data and analysis that was presented by Enterprise team at the last meeting. All of this can be found on slide 18 in the appendix. As you will see, it is far too detailed for me to drill down here, but I'd be happy to address any specific questions during the Q&A or offline or with any of your team. That being said, I would like to just give a little context and guidance on what is in the appendix. You will see each chart begins to really address the more specifics. So if you look at slide number 18, well, stay on slide number 10, but for your reference, if you look at slide 18 on the appendix, you'll see more details on the 5 objectives of which we just discussed. And then, if I can ask those who are switching the slides to now move to slide 11. Slide 11, what it does is it takes the objective, in this case, creation of good jobs, and identifies the toolkit at Invest Atlanta that will be used to support the objectives. This way, we can help to guide what programs, initiatives, and incentives we have so that we can achieve the objectives. And all of the objectives are identified in the appendix. If you can go to slide 12, please. In slide 12, what you see here is in the appendix, slide 21 through 2018, It describes how we intend to use these tools, what the main initiative will be, and you see that on the left, and then which businesses and residents we will be targeting, who we will look to partner with, our current assessments of the action's effectiveness and effort, and whether it is a priority to move forward in the current phase of the crisis or later as we look to recovery. And then if you can please move to slide number 13. Slide number 13, we are looking at key performance indicators. So here we are key performance indicators. Here we are turning to impact evaluation. So the question was, how will we know that we are really being effective and making a difference over and above what has happened already? We are working very closely with Bloomberg and the cohort that I participate in on key performance indicators, which will shift the agency from measuring solely activities to measuring the impact for small businesses and residents. What is key here is the interconnectivity. So, for example, on this slide, our proposed key performance indicator for the objective is to create more good jobs. In particular, you will see that the indicator focuses on outputs. Are the jobs created? Do they pay more than $40,000? Do they come with employer-sponsored health care? Or are they entry-level jobs that have a clear pathway to a middle-wage job within 10 years? Because it will take some time for jobs to be created, we are proposing to use lead indicators, which our managers will use to measure and make sure we remain on track. So, in summary, the idea, we created the 5 objectives in the plan. We tied those to the Invest Atlanta toolkit to help support the objective. Then we looked at the actions we need to take to support the objective using the toolkit. And then we said, how are we going to ensure that we are really producing and making a difference? And that we are using key performance indicator measures, not just activities, but measuring real impact to Atlantans in the city of Atlanta. If we can move to slide number 14, I want to take a second to walk you through how we envision this plan coming to life. Each element of our process and plan builds on and is intrinsically connected to the other. In other words, while you are creating a new job opportunity, you must also be preparing Atlantans to be able to access these jobs. And as you think about which Atlantans to target for job training, you must know who has been impacted and likely to be unemployed or recently displaced. I find this slide, often referenced as a lifeboat slide, really helpful in showing how we can create pathways to move effective residents into immediate, in-demand jobs while preparing them for good, stable employment down the road. So please note this is a recent example pulled from a national report on pathways for unemployed, displaced workers presented by Oxford. We are going to create this slide for the Atlanta region. Here we have a retail salesperson who has lost their job. Retail sales jobs, as we know, have been hit particularly hard. However, they can use their existing skills and work as a personal care aide, which is in real demand. While still in the workforce, they can then enter a training program at WorkSource Atlanta and then earn credentials to fully transition to a good job as a medical secretary or a nursing assistant. Again, what Atlanta needs to do is find a way for us to connect individuals to higher wage jobs. This gets me to slide 15. Finally, we, like you, this committee, believe any sound plan must build on the feedback and insights of those it aims to help, our residents and our businesses. And while we reached out to over 20,000 Atlantans and engaged over 200 individuals through a variety of channels, settings to inform them of this strategy that I'm presenting today, we recognize we need to do more. Specifically, we cannot expect and rely on residents and business owners to come to us. We need to go to them. The only way we can make sure that we hear from all corners of Atlanta is if we are intentional in engaging all corners of Atlanta. On this slide is a summary of some of the programming we have already identified, but I want to quickly speak to the biggest takeaway. First, Invest Atlanta has appointed a full-time staffer, Michelle Lewis, to lead an agency-wide community engagement program. Since I've been at Invest Atlanta, we have never had this before. Second, she will be leading much more frequent and structured outreach to our council, to our committee members. All of you represent an incredible resource. We know this. For us, it is helpful to better understand the priorities. You can help us provide information into the hopes and frustrations of your constituents. We want to ask you the best way to engage your community, the topics that would be of interest in hearing about, and other community leaders and groups to speak with, the activities they would want us to promote, the events and places we can go to listen to community members. In support of this commitment, before that, number 3, we are also going to completely revise our community engagement procedures when it comes to programs, initiatives, and board action. In support of this commitment, we will follow up with each council member and ask that you assign a point person for Michelle to engage with on a regular basis. Finally, we will be tracking our engagement efforts through a set of internal metrics. We want to know who we are reaching and refine our programming as we go along to ensure that communities of color, minority women businesses, and affected neighborhoods are not missing out on any opportunities to lend their voice and ideas. We have heard you, council members, and are committed to improving this area by going to the people and listening to people and acting on what they have to say. Final slide. I just want to say thank you again for your time and insights through this process. It has been very valuable to us, and now I will pause and have the team on the line, the Invest Atlanta team, we can take any questions or hear any feedback that you may have.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, Councilmember Archibald, you may still be not in front of your computer, so let me know if you have any questions or comments. In the meantime, we will start with Councilmember Faroki.
Thank you, Chairman Westmoreland. And I don't have a lot of questions. I think there's a lot of details. The KPIs are fairly nuanced. I do just want to say I would like to continue the conversation. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I appreciate Invest Atlanta and Chairman Westmoreland's advocacy to in many ways, and I know this has been a long time coming, but refocus a lot of what Invest Atlanta is working on to the betterment of the city and to particularly those who are also left behind and most vulnerable. I do have broader philosophical skepticism about the ability of a city's investment authority to actually make enough of an impact to shift this. I mean, every other American city is grappling with the same thing. A lot of these are macro trends that cities are kind of at the mercy of, whether it's kind of regional housing costs, transportation network, real estate expenses, which I know Invest Atlanta is there to kind of put their finger on the scale for individual companies. And so as we have ongoing conversations offline, I think one question, particularly with middle wage jobs, that I'd like Invest Atlanta to answer, and I don't think you can answer it today, but kind of in Atlanta's bucket of jobs, however many they are, I'm curious what the number of jobs there are in Atlanta. How many middle wage jobs fitting that criteria that you've articulated do we have today? What does success look like 5 years from now? Like, how many more jobs will we be adding? In some ways, I think this is more of a regional conversation than just a City of Atlanta conversation, but we don't have a mechanism to do that effectively. And so I'd like to engage in that conversation over the coming months. But I really appreciate the level of detail that you and the Bloomberg team have put into this. And I think we're all going to be excited and supportive to see Invest Atlanta have this focus and this thrust. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. And we will follow up with you on that question.
Any other questions or comments from colleagues? If not, hello?
Yes.
Oh, I thought I heard somebody. I'll ask one. Could you scroll down? I know it's in the appendix, but slides 29, 30, and 31. I know a large piece of the conversation we had last meeting was about key performance indicators, and I know that will continue to be ironed out in the coming weeks, and that all of the X's on slides 29, 30, and 31 will turn into actual goals and numbers and percentages. So I was wondering if you could just briefly, for the benefit of folks and for the record, talk a little bit about the KPIs that we have so far, and then the process by which we will go through to kind of lock them down, and how those conversations have gone so far and what direction we think they're moving in.
Yes. Well, what we're doing right now, one is we wanted to make sure, to your point, Councilman, yes, they will all be filled in for the next presentation. We just want to make sure if you have any comments or any of your colleagues have comments on the key performance indicators to let us know. Second is we also are gathering data, working very closely with Bloomberg right now on ARC to ensure that not only are these key performance indicators challenging, realistic in this time. So that's what they're going to help us do. And then secondly is we're trying to get a full visibility into COVID-19 and see how that's going to continue to impact. And so as we're doing all of these, we're pulling all the data and information, and then we will be able to consolidate those. But again, as I emphasized during the presentation, it really is not only going to measure the activity, but we are looking to measure impact. I've often had council members ask, well, how are we making sure that we are really delivering what we said we are and making a difference? So that is some of the that's the challenge and opportunity of making sure we got this key performance indicator correct.
Okay. Now, that makes a lot of sense. If there are no other questions or comments from my colleagues, I appreciate you, Dr. Clementius, and the team that's working on this, and looking forward to the conversations we're going to have on July 14th, and then most importantly, adoption in August.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Next up, colleagues, we are moving on to the quarterly report from Workforce Atlanta, which will be led by Executive Director Katarina Taylor.
Can you all? Good afternoon, Chairman Westmoreland and CDHS committee members. This is Katarina Taylor, Executive Director of Workforce Atlanta. To start my presentation, I wanted to just share with you that over the last couple of months, I've sent a few memos to the committee, and throughout the presentation, I will talk about some of those things and content that I sent in those memos. So if there are any questions that you might have had about the memos, we'll have some time to talk about it now, and then I can answer any questions that you might have. If you could go to slide 4, which is going to be new team members. So Sonia, we've actually added 2 new team members to the Workforce team. I'm really excited about the opportunity to work with both of these individuals. Sonia Wilson Westmoreland is our new Director of Operations. She comes to us from Workforce Fulton. She was with Workforce Fulton and Select Fulton for quite some time. And so she comes to us as our new Director of Operations. We also hired Marcos Pope, the Director of Finance and Accounting. He comes to us from the Technical College System of Georgia, which is also, as you all may know, CCSD, our state grantor. So he comes with a lot of grants and operations experience as well as WIOA experience. So we're very excited to have him. Next slide, slide 5. Our Workforce Economic Mobility Regional Strategy is something we've been working on for quite some time, since the beginning of 2019 with the other 4 local workforce boards. Our goal is to have a human-centered design to meet the needs of our customers. And this is a 3-year project that was funded by Atlanta Career Rise and housed by the United Way. our three goals are to really apply race, equity, and inclusion, to apply a race and equity inclusion lens to bring focus to the customers that we serve, facilitate a uniform process by applying for eligibility, and then create more capacity for our nonprofit partners to connect their mission recipients to workforce resources. If you will please go to slide 6. And so during COVID, during the stay-at-home orders, we successfully piloted a new WIOA eligibility process under this new economic mobility service strategy. It includes online eligible webinars, info sessions, a single application that no matter what workforce area board you're at or your zip code refers to, there is one single application, so we're able to have a regional approach. Customers and staff feedback have been really positive. We've done the pilot. We've got feedback from not only Workforce Atlanta customers, but customers from around the region. Obviously, there are refinements that we'll need to apply, and what they said was that the process was much more user-friendly than our current process. So we're super excited about that. If you'll go to slide 7. I wanted to put this slide in here because I think that oftentimes, workforce boards, we don't do a lot of advertising. We don't have it in our grant dollars to do that. However, we are able to do more community engagement. And so we thought from a regional aspect, we should make sure that, during COVID and post this pandemic, we know that not only will City of Atlanta residents be out of work, but they'll be out of work all over the region, as Councilman Bafolfi just said. So we put together a video that for all of our workforce boards, and would love for you all to watch that video, share with your constituents, and we'll also share with ours and throughout Atlanta. If you will please go to slide 8. This is our summer youth program. It's been maybe a couple of years since Workforce Atlanta has had a summer youth program. This is our in-school youth program. Thus far, we've enrolled 100 participants. We have 38 more participants waiting to be enrolled and waiting to have their applications approved. Through this in-school youth program, our goal is to make sure that all of our students in this program have come out with a credential, which is a Microsoft Office certification. And if you know our programs, you know that many of our adult participants will go through a Microsoft Office certification in order to get administrative work. This is a paid summer work experience. We're paying our youth about $12 an hour in this particular summer program. We also have provided uniforms for them. They'll be learning skills like entrepreneurship, career exploration, leadership skills, and more. And for those youth who did not have access to computers, we were able to provide that access for them and provide computers. So we're excited about the opportunity for the out-of-school youth to have this summer program. If you will go to slide 9. Slide 9 is our in-school summer program, our in-school youth summer program. And we've actually partnered with the Department of Parks and Rec for this program. The program started on yesterday, and we have about 32 participants so far, 44 on the waiting list. These students will be working 15 to 25 hours per week with $13 an hour. We'll also provide all the uniforms and any PPE that they deem necessary that is needed for the role, for the job through Parks and Rec. We also provide MARTA cards and any other supportive services that these students may need. If you please go to slide 10, this is just an overview of what they'll be learning. Again, leadership development skills, entrepreneurial skills, there'll be some adult mentoring, and other things that will encompass in this curriculum and summer work experience with our Parks and Rec department. If you will please go to slide 11. I wanted to share this slide to talk about the unemployment in Georgia. And this is our unemployment through from March 7th through June 13th. This comes to us from our state funders, TCSD. And so when we look at the 2.6 million businesses, or the 2.6 million people that have filed for unemployment, these are representative of businesses that have 50 or more employees. And I wanted to also compare it to the region. Fulton and the city of Atlanta are the exact same. They always clump us into the same number. So we represent about 13% of that 2.6 million persons that have filed unemployment. So I wanted to make sure that we shared that so that you all could also see what we're doing to help find jobs that most people are not able to get access to. So if you will actually go to slide 12, please. And we can talk about just the unemployment claims by industry. And I think Eloisa may have to hit this in some of her presentation as well, but most of the hard-hit industries are retail, trade, administrative and support and waste management, remediation services, healthcare and social assistance, and accommodations and food service. Please go to slide 13. So as we're looking at unemployment numbers and we're looking at the industries, we're also behind the scenes working with, small businesses, large chains, big brands, to find out what jobs are available now. And so in order to, one, continue to practice social distancing and keep our customers safe, but keep our customers informed, we've been doing weekly job fairs. And as you can see here, there are a few companies that may look familiar, and there are some companies that are very new to the city of Atlanta. Spin is one of those companies that are new to the city of Atlanta. They called and they wanted to make sure that as they are entering into the Atlanta market, that they wanted to hire local. So we are continuing to host those job fairs. I would ask if you all have any companies in your council districts or organizations or business owners that you continually have conversations with. I would love to know if they're hiring, and then maybe we can set them up with a virtual job fair as well. And if you have questions on how to get access to that, please let me know. We've made that all available on the Workforce website. If you'll please go to slide 14. At our last CDHS committee meeting, I talked about our grant to TCSG that we had written and submitted. That grant was about $1.3 million. We are still waiting to hear the final numbers. However, it does look good that we'll be receiving the allocated dollars. We will focus on dislocated workers as well as emergency disaster relief sites in the city of Atlanta. Those disaster relief sites could be anything from the homeless COVID hotels that under the mayor's homeless initiative or other initiatives that we deem or that PCSG will deem an emergency disaster relief site. So just, to give you an idea of what that could be outside of the homeless hotels or the COVID hotels, we could also work with waste management to understand if there's more waste in the city that we could, get employees or to find work to help clean up the city and under the Keep Atlanta Beautiful initiative. So we're having those conversations now to see where best the money can be spent and obviously be in compliance with spending that money. But we will let you know as soon as we know more about where and how those dollars will be coming to us and when those dollars will be coming to us. If you will go to slide 16. We're in the middle of completing our draft budget. That is due by the end of this week, and our actual budget will be due at the end of July. So what I have for you today is our projected spending for the end of the year. I wanted to make sure that you had the projected spending so you could see exactly where we were. If you look at the first line, the We Owe Adult, where it says 2018-2019, and you go all the way to the right-hand side where it says remaining to be spent, if you'll notice there are $0 left to spend in 2018, in the 2018 program year, which completely ends on June 30th. And then if you go down just one where it's the 2019-2020 dollars to be spent, you'll see where there's a little bit over $757,000 left to spend. Those funds are actually to be obligated, so we don't have to spend them by the end of the month. So we're in really good shape because most of those dollars, these figures are as of May 15th, and many of those figures have changed. And so now we're just in the process of obligating. And what that means is, as we're in the midst of negotiating our contracts with renewals for In the Door and our Redcare contract, most of those funds will go inside of that contract. If you scroll down to dislocated workers, you'll see the 2018-2019, and then scroll all the way to the right-hand side under remaining to be spent, it's zero. We have $0 left to spend for dislocated workers in the 2018 program year. And if you go down, there's 1.3, almost 1.4 million left for 2019. There's a little bit less than that now, but only 80% of that has to be obligated. We will obligate that into our contract renewals. So we're really in good shape to spend our formulated funds for WIOA. And then as well as youth, if you scroll down to youth, you will also see there is a zero amount of dollars to spend. And actually, we've got a little bit less than about $14,000, but that will be spent in our Parks and Rec summer program. So we're excited about the fact that, we were able to get all the money out of the door and spend it on our participants and spend it within compliance. And then the last thing you'll see is at the bottom, if you scroll to the very left-hand side of the form, second to the bottom, it says Impact Project. That is our homeless grant project. We started off with $397,000 in grant funding. And if you scroll all the way to the right-hand side, you'll see that we have a little bit over $102,000 left to spend by June 30th. Actually, that's a little bit less than that, but that doesn't include, we still have 2 payrolls left for our participants in the program, as well as we haven't deducted our staff salary, so those who are managing the homeless grant within the Workforce Atlanta office. So we are very excited that all of those monies will be completely spent down as well. I'll stop there to find out if there's any questions before we go to the next page.
I do not see any, so go on ahead.
Okay. So if you all would go to slide 17. Slide 17 is an update on our Tech Hire grant. This is one of the memos that I sent to you all in May. We have been in constant contact with the U.S. Department of Labor regarding this Tech Hire grant. It's actually one of the things that keeps me up at night. So on May 26th, we received finally a official notification from the Department of Labor regarding this Tech Hire grant. What they did was present to us the same findings that they presented in April of last year. And in April of last year, when those findings were presented, the workforce team put together their response to those findings, as well as a plan to address the findings and how to spend the remaining dollars in that grant. During that time, however, the Department of Labor, our grant officer had retired. They assigned a new grant officer, and that grant officer abruptly left the organization. And so in that, our response to the findings from April, kind of sat there. And even though we were in constant communication, and we were just told not to spend the money, to cease on spending any remaining dollars from the Tech Hire grant. So fast forward to May, they have sent those same findings. We are in the process of finalizing our package response. We took what was presented to them last year, make sure there were some updates, and so we are sending that back to them with a request to reset this tech grant, which means we'd like to not only extended, but we'd like to extend it for an additional 4 years. I think, in looking through some of the information, we understand, I think this team at Workforce, we certainly understand what can happen and what should have happened, but we just want to move forward with the grant if possible. So once we submit that, we're hoping that we'll have at least 30 days, get a response in 30 days from the organization or from the Department of Labor. And so I would have more information to you all in July. But that is what our plan is. So there's more detail in the memo that you all will provide it, but I also wanted to make sure that I put it in this presentation in case you all had any questions. If you go to slide 18, that is our homeless grant update. We just, I just spoke to that one regarding our projected spending, but I did want to share just a few numbers. Through this homeless grant, we've supported 61 participants, and which means that it was a little bit more than what we originally started off with. Initially, the grant was only supposed to support 35 to 45 people, and we were able to get those numbers to go up. During this time as well, during stay-at-home orders, many of our work sites were either closing down or sending their employees to work virtually. During that time, some of our homeless participants weren't able to work, so we went back to TCSG as well as our board to find out if we could extend their work experiences. We were able to extend all of our homeless participants' work experiences, meaning instead of, maybe the 60 days that they would have worked, they've been able to extend their experiences to 120 days, ensuring that they're still continuing to receive a paycheck. So we were excited about that. Unfortunately, the grant does end on June 30th. Now, there may be some other opportunities to apply for some different grant funding in the future, but this grant itself does end June 30th, and the money has all been spent down, or will all be spent down by the 30th. If you'll go to slide 19. Slide 19 is just a picture that I wanted to make sure that I share with you all. Oftentimes, you don't know necessarily what some of our grant dollars support. And through supportive services, we're able to provide uniforms for our homeless participants and any participant that if they're on a work site and that employer requires uniforms. So we buy them brand new pants, shoes, shirts, polo, socks, things that they need already but are a part of their uniform for that company. So I just wanted to make sure that I shared that with you all. It makes our participants feel good about how they look and restores confidence in a way that they haven't had it in quite some time. So we're happy to do that. And we continue to do that and throughout the stay-at-home order. If you will please go to slide 20. So in October of 2019, Workforce Atlanta was sanctioned by TCSG, which is our state monitoring, for not addressing findings from program year 2017. Those findings were simply for not holding regular scheduled board meetings and other items. Workforce has continued to address those findings. We continue to request technical help from TCSG as needed, and we've been hosting regularly scheduled board meetings. As a matter of fact, I think in early last year, in 2018, I think Workforce may have had 3 board meetings. Since I started with Workforce, we've already had 5 board meetings. So we continue to hold regular scheduled board meetings, and oftentimes if there business that needs to be handled in between, we will call a board meeting, and we've been getting full board support, so we're excited about that. But as of June 10th, that sanction that we received in October has been lifted, and all findings under that sanction were resolved. We continue to have monitoring findings that we're addressing from 2019, and all those findings to be addressed by the end of this month. but we are very happy to know and to have to be able to share with you all that the sanction was lifted. If you could please go to slide 21. Slide 21 is just lets you know the board meetings that we have scheduled left for the rest of the year. Obviously, those meetings will be public, but also wanted to share it with you for your review and for your record. And my last slide, if you could go to slide 23. I just need to bring this up. So the last slide is just our integration with Invest Atlanta. Just wanted to quickly give you a high-level briefing on that. There has been a second IGA draft completed and sent to legal. Legal will be reviewing that. And that was sent to legal as of June the 12th. We're also looking at financial best practices. There are other agencies who have entered into a similar agreement, and so getting some feedback from those agencies and understanding procurement models and processes, I think is where we're at now, but there's a lot to consider as we continue to move forward with the integration. Having Marcos Pope on our team as our financial director, he'll help shed some light on what agencies are doing across the state, but certainly he'll be very helpful to Eloise and her team as well as the workforce team. And then the last thing is that the current target to bring information back to council is August 2020. And that completes my presentation and Workforce Atlanta update. Thank you all.
Thank you. I appreciate your presentation. I'll first pivot to any other colleagues who may have questions or comments. While looking or waiting for those, a couple from my perspective. First, congratulations on your two new hires. I know that those are two critical roles to continue to make even more progress. So excited to see those. And then clearly, the goal is very obviously never to be in a position where WorkSource was as it related to sanctions and findings from TCSG. But once you get there, it's important to get away from them as soon as possible. And so congratulations to you and your team for the list that took place on June 10th, and then I know the one that will take place after June 30th as we've completed any remaining action items. Do you have a sense on the tech hire grant? I know the saga you described. We've now resent them a letter. What's our best guess on when they may re-engage with us with an answer of some kind?
So we usually try to give them at least 30 days to review everything that we sent over. And so that, I would say our best guess we would hope that it would only take 30 days. Again, you know, the best scenario would be that they would come back and say, we can reset this this grant. However, we just don't know, and they haven't really given us any indication how they might respond. As much as I think we try to anticipate what a response might be, it's just no way for us to know. And then again, 30 days is when we're hoping we'll get a response from them.
Okay, that makes sense. Colleagues, any other questions or comments? Yes, Ms. Archibong.
Yes, did you provide any slides or information or update on WestCare or RevCare? I always get their names confused.
I didn't provide any slide updates on RevCare. We're in the midst of trying to complete our full budget, but what I can do is, and we've been working with them to renew their contract in our summer program, but I can go back and have them update me on our participant numbers, and I can send that to you all before the end of the week in a memo.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. All right, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right. If not, thank you very much for your presentation and all the great work that you and your team are continuing to do.
Thank you, Chairman.
All right, colleagues, that concludes our presentations for this afternoon. We are going to move into public comment now before our regular agenda. As I described earlier, we have 1 hour and 17 minutes of public comment, 86 messages. And so, Ms. Pugliini, if you would start that process now, that would be great.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Just before we start public comment, I will just read our opening script. One moment. This meeting is being conducted remotely as advertised and as in accordance with OCGA 50-14-1. The meeting will be conducted in conformance with Robert's Rules of Order and the Rules of Council as authorized by the City Code. The public may access the meeting by dialing 877-579-6743, conference ID 831-599-1256, which was noted on the June 19, 2020 public meeting notice. The public may also view the meeting on Channel 26, the Council's homepage at citycouncil.atlantaga.gov, the Council's YouTube channel, or the Council's Facebook and Twitter pages via @ATL Council. All presentations are available on the Atlanta City Council Community Development Human Services Committee presentation page. The agenda was published and made available on June 19, 2020 via atlantacitygA.iqm2.com. In addition, the public was able to submit comments via voicemail at 404-330-6089 up to 1 hour prior to this meeting. These comments will be played shortly. All persons present on the remote council meeting conference bridge are requested to mute your phones and speakers. Additionally, speakers must be acknowledged by the presiding officer prior to speaking. Each council member is requested to open your Outlook email and minimize the screen. Amendments, substitutes, and informational documents have been distributed to the committee members beforehand. Thank you all in advance for your cooperation.
Thanks for the opportunity to address the council. To the point, my name is Ron Shakir. I'm calling because I'm concerned that our political action is disregarding the voice and concerns of people when they create czars over the public or commissions over the public, which the public have less engagement with, some which is appointed by members throughout the community, from members throughout the community, and some that is just opened up in the mayor's office, or the fact that some is voted on by the city council to give its authority to czar or to another governing entity. It takes it away from the public. So if you have a council person who raise issues, that's another layer they have to go through that maybe make it more personal with that council person, but the public now is further away. And when we see infrastructure and community development going towards areas that impact the power of our economic growth that has separated us and made us the capital of the South, and that's transportation, that is airport, that is conventions. So when we see that that industry being impacted, we seeing streetcars or bikes or scooters that has been vetted and that has not been vetted. But the measurement of the impact and the prejudice impact that it has, whether or not it's good, innovative development like the Uber or the animated car transportation that has redone transportation, but the impact should not erase or terribly disrupt or just be market driven. You have equity, and you have hotels, you have business owners who are in place. This is a big city. This is a big city. Spread it out. You do not erase. Your vote should not destroy existing businesses or neglected businesses that have their right to exist and develop and expand also. year. And one other thing, our voices are not being heard. The volume.
Hi, this is Jordan Ryan-Grover. I'm a resident of Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm calling to ask that the budget be amended and Resolution 20-R-4068 is funded instead with the reallocation of about $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Hello, my name is Archie McLeod. My phone number is 404-915-8946. I'm Overstreet. This was going to direct to City Council Overstreet. What are the children going to do for the summer? Are we going to have summer camps? What plans? Because I have parents calling me. We need to think out of the box. What are we going to do for the children for this summer? Do anybody have any plans of the summer camp? Please call me that I could contact the parents. Because these kids are going to need something for the summer to do. 404-915-8946. Please, and everybody's not going to be able to go to summer camp. So the ones that can't go, what plans do y'all have for them?
Hello, my name is Dana Harrison, and I'm asking that you amend the budget and fund 20-R-4068, and please to reallocate the almost $75 million of police funding so that we can reimagine public safety. Thank you. Hi, my name is Alexandra Lampert, and I live in Westview in Councilmember Boone's district. I'd like to see City Council amend the city budget for 2021 and fund Resolution 20-R-4068, reallocate the $73 million of police funds into reimagining public safety. I've read City Council's reasons for not doing this. I can assure you I am not interested in funding a previously promised raise for APD officers when they've proven themselves to be a danger to public safety. Mind you, these are the officers that have deployed tear gas, rubber bullets, and used clubs against our citizens recently. Similarly, I do not need to see City Council send a message of support to these officers when their behavior and sheer lack of confidence not to hurt our citizens does not merit support. I do not support police brutality, and my City Council should not support it either. In the wake of the murder of Rashad Brooks, now is not the time to express broad, sweeping, reductive messages of support and financial investment for the APD. It's time to listen to your citizens and reimagine what public safety should look like without depending on a police force that's woefully ill-equipped to handle the work it takes on. It's time to defund them. Hi, this is Megan Maloney. I live in Ormwood Park. My zip code is 30316. The reason I'm calling as a taxpayer and a City of Atlanta resident is I'm demanding that the City Council amend the budget and fund the resolution that was passed, 20-R-4068, to reallocate the $73 million of public funds so that we can redistribute these funds in ways that would be more advantageous and goal-oriented to achieve public safety. We know that if we invest early on in opportunities within our city, such as public works, workforce development, aiding our homeless, that we can actively combat crime and overall reduce violence in the community. So again, this is Megan Maloney, zip code 30316. And as a taxpayer, I'm adding that asking that we actually fund Resolution 20-R-4068. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Johnson. I'm born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm calling to demand the amendment, the budget, and fund Resolution 20-R-4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety in our city. Thank you. Bye.
Hello, my name is Paul Stevens. I live in Ormwood Park, Atlanta, which is between Grant Park and East Atlanta. I'm calling to express my you to reallocate the $73 million that we're spending on policing in Atlanta into services that can actually serve the community. Services, like I said before, healthcare, education, housing is a big one. And why do we have people sleeping on the streets? We have $73 million for rubber bullets, for LARD devices, or like tear gas. I mean, why are we spending money militarizing the police when the police are not serving us? They're not serving us. They're not protecting us. They are harming us. They are murdering us. That's unacceptable. This has to change.
Hi, my name is Rachel Chandler, and I am a citizen living in District 7 here in Atlanta. And I think it is a matter of utmost public concern to immediately amend the fiscal year 2021 budget and reallocate $73 million of police funds to reimagine public safety and support Resolution 20R4068 to keep our city safe for all of its citizens, because currently, as it stands, the police force is not keeping all of our citizens safe, and it's your job as our city council people to listen to your constituents and what they want. And so many of us support this resolution, and I think all of you need to take a step back and support it as well. Thank you.
My name is Jamie Allen. I live in Eden Park, and I've been very concerned about the recent developments with the Atlanta Police Department. Have a demand to amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. This is imperative, and I feel that Atlanta has always been a city that has led the way as far as civil rights is concerned, and the time is now to make these changes.
Hi, my name is Maya Swift-Smith, and I live in the Inman Park, Freedom Parkway neighborhood in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm calling to amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068 and asking to reallocate $73 million of the police fund in order to reimagine public safety. And by reimagine, I really hope that it doesn't mean taking police out of their uniforms and putting them in the community. I think that we can all agree that's not a good look. It's not going to help the problems that we see happening on the streets, the problems with the education system, the problems with the homelessness. I feel like we can reimagine it in the way the AOC said, to look at it like a suburb where we can pick, people that are trusted in the community, people that look like the people that live in the community, the people that actually know the people that live in the community and don't know them from the jail or for any kind of, law enforcement kind of relationship. But people that we actually can trust and love and put in public to help with public safety, I think would be a beautiful thing for Atlanta to do and a very necessary thing for Atlanta to do. So again, I'm just asking to amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068 and reallocate those millions and millions and millions of dollars and to do something really beautiful for Atlanta instead of giving it to law enforcement and having them kind of crack down in different ways that they see fit. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, my name is Diana Sachs. I'm calling to demand that we amend the budget and fund Resolution 20-R-4068 and reallocate the $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Please listen to the community and do the right thing. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Liz Nicholson. I'm an Atlanta resident living in Grant Park. And I'm calling to ask that you all amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068 and reallocate $73 million police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Jessica Thompson. I'm calling because I am extremely frustrated and extremely disappointed at the leadership after listening to 17 hours of public comment and then giving the police bonuses, like, y'all are not listening. The majority of this city is not white, and those people are not being protected by the police. They are being harassed and terrorized and killed by the police. Like, why do you want to keep giving them more money and giving them pats on the back to boost morale? Like, for what? So is that going to keep them from killing people? It's so frustrating. It gives me, and I think a lot of people, just like no faith in the leadership in this city. Like, why are we not trying to be leaders in this movement? Like, I want to share just a quick anecdote. My next door neighbor is a 75-year-old white woman, and she has 2 adopted black sons, one of whom who lives close by, and he is 47, and he doesn't have a car, so he walks to and from work. He has to call his mother. He's 47. He has to call her before and after, like, he gets to where he's going, because he and she are terrified of the police. When he sees a police officer, he runs because he is terrified. That is no way to live. Like, the people that are supposed to be protecting you, and you are so scared that you're running away from them when you haven't done anything wrong. Like, it's so messed up, and y'all need to listen, and y'all need to do something about it.
Hi, my name is Lila Miller, and I am calling today as a concerned citizen to demand that the City Council amend the Budget and Fund Resolution 20R4068, as well as reallocate around $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety throughout the city of Atlanta. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Isabel Namnam, and I'm a resident of Duckhead in Atlanta. I'm calling today to ask the council to amend the Budget and Fund Resolution 20R4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. I've been listening to a few of the calls, and I understand some council members' desire not to demoralize the police force, but I think our community is demoralized. So I think that it's critical that we invest in these communities that we've denied for so long. So I really hope you take this into consideration. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Kate Ledoux. I am a resident of Atlanta, living in the zip 30305. I am calling today about amending the budget and funding resolution 20R4068 and reallocating $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. We in this city can live in a better world for all of our residents if we defund policing, if we boost social programs, and it is my sincerest hope that your committee will support that. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Roberta Moore, and I live in Council District 2. I'm calling to ask City Council and the Mayor to amend the budget by funding Resolution 20R4068 and reallocating $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety through means more sophisticated, productive, and humane than harassment and brutality. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maureen Zett. I live in Buckhead, and I want to urge you to amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068, reallocate $73 million of police funds to other social services and other public safety activities to really rethink how public safety is done in Atlanta. Please do it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Matt Smith, and I live in zip code 30312. I'm calling today to say that the budget should be amended and Resolution 20-R-4068 should be funded, and that $73 million in police funds should be reallocated towards reimagining public safety. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Aries Laura. I live in Atlanta in Grant Park, zip code 30315, and I support the abolishment of the police and demand that you amend the budget and fund resolution 20-R-4068 to reallocate the $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Alexandra Beltry. I'm calling the Atlanta City Council to call for an amendment to the budget. I'm calling to fund the resolution 20R as in Roger 4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Co Lem. I am leaving a public comment to urge Atlanta City Council members to fund Resolution 20R4068. I support the implementation of trained, unarmed professionals to respond to calls on nonviolent crime matters. In an effort to create safer neighborhoods, I am calling for immediate stopgaps, such as those contained in, quote, 8 Can't Wait, quote, and other successful initiatives throughout the country and world. Police officers need to be held accountable for their actions, and policies need to be revisited or accountable for their actions, created to ensure first responders are not unjustly protected by the law. It is extremely important to dismantle oppressive systems such as racism that fuel the root cause of crime, including lack of access to stable, affordable housing, high-quality public education, and economic opportunity. The Atlanta Police Department budget needs to be held for Q3 and Q4 of fiscal year 2021 in a public safety and community support restricted fund, while a review of the city's approach to public safety and policing is conducted. Additionally, the Atlanta Police Department budget needs a full audit to determine appropriate use of funds and ways to reduce their annual budget. Reducing the Atlanta Police Department's annual budget will allow us to reallocate money into wraparound services such as education, housing, mental health services, drug rehabilitation programs, and youth services. Please fund Resolution 20R4068. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Betty Barnard. I'm an Atlanta resident of District 2. I'm calling on the Community Development and Human Services Department of the Atlanta City Council to amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alex Thibodeau. I'm 31 years old and was born and raised in the metro Atlanta area. I'm calling today to ask that you will please make it a priority to amend the city budget and fund Resolution 20-R4068 immediately. Business cannot go on as usual until these steps are taken. The people have spoken, and it is the responsibility of city officials representing us to listen, learn, and enact the policies that we know we need. Atlanta has the opportunity to be a leader, not only in the Southeast, but in the country and world. For once, let's be on the right side of history by reallocating the police funding for more effective, sustainable, and equitable public safety measures. Thank you for your time and service.
Nike Kazanis. So if we want to really talk about economic development in local communities, one thing that we really need to consider is the end of civil forfeiture and putting an end to police coming into local communities and really raiding them of valuable resources that could be put into the development of local businesses and for the general improvement. So it would be important to stop this raid upon our local communities by ending civil forfeiture practices. Further, an end in the closing of local jails and prisons would also help by boosting the local population of workers and provide new opportunities for development. We could then take, similar to plans for the Atlanta City Detention Center, we could take all prisons, jails, and many of the precincts, since we clearly do not need such an extensive militarized police force, and develop them into local community centers that, rather than creating divides within the local communities, come to bring the local population together in a safe and open capacity. I think there's plenty of options, but here the best solution is really the removing of a standing army in local communities who really want to consider about developing a stronger Atlanta.
Good morning. My name is Tony Rogleski. I wanted to start by thanking you all for everything that you're doing during these difficult times. But I'm calling to reach the Community Development and Human Services within the Atlanta City Council, and I am requesting that we amend the budget and fund resolution 20R-468 and reallocate the $43 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety and also allocate those funds to better serve our communities in different ways. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this, and have a great day.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Brown, and I am a resident of Grant Park. I'm calling in today to encourage that the Council on Community Development and Human Services make a budgetary push to redirect funds from the APD into its infrastructure. Councilman Westmoreland, as the head of this committee and as someone who's voted yes for approving Resolution 20R-4068, we would like to see you do everything in your power to forward programs that benefit the community and take us away from policing. The fact that Council would narrowly vote no on legislation that would defund the APD after listening to over 30 hours of public comment urging them to do everything within their power to do so proves a stunning lack of commitment to the people of the city. But it is their duty as citizens to continue forcing the topic. While we won't forget the no vote come next election, it is still within Council's power to reverse course. Council has by now assuredly heard more than enough potential strategies to reallocate APD funds, but for this particular committee, might I suggest funneling money into social services and organizations built to strengthen community relations and offer up employment to those at risk and those without homes. Think about how much positive work can be done in diverting crime if the infrastructure built to support our most overpoliced communities was strengthened by the City of Atlanta's efforts to show support, whether that's in the form of after-school programs, vocational training, arts and cultural outreach. The possibilities here are endless. And I know that for you, Councilman Westmoreland, who has a history within the Atlanta public school system, there must be some ideas that you can put forth that prioritize empathy and education over arrest and incarceration. As we'll be signing off these voicemails in the immediate future, I also do have to raise the issue of how Councilman Michael Julian Bott is allowed to hold on to his seat despite being found guilty of over 300 campaign finance violations to the tune of a $39,000 fine, which he is still, as stated on the record, has not paid. For that, I think that not only should Councilman Bond be removed from the seat, but investigated and punished like the rest of us would be if we had been accused of similar actions. Might I suggest that once he is, let go and his salary is up for grabs, maybe you could take that remainder and divert it into the Community Development Fund or, something else more productive. Thanks for your time. Take care.
This is Ashley Jones. I'm calling to make sure that the city amends the budget and signs the resolution to allocate the $73 million that's going into police funds so that we can reimagine public safety. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
My name is Duncan, and I'm requesting that City Council amend the 2021 fiscal year budget to divert $73 million from police services and reallocate them to house, feed, heal, and protect Atlanta citizens. The Atlanta Police Department cannot intimidate, terrorize, brutalize, and murder without consequence. The only appropriate action is total symbolic and fiscal rebuke of these practices through complete divestment.
Hello, my name is Alvina Needell. I'm calling to demand that you amend the budget and fund resolution 20R4068 and reallocate $73 million of the police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Again, I called the other day. I think, I understand that you care for the people and that this is a difficult situation and there's a lot of people to please. However, I feel like the system that has been going on for a while now is clearly not functioning. It is failing. The social contract between the government, the police, and the people, I feel is a little bit broken, and you owe it to the people to try and reimagine something different and something better. Thank you.
Ben Howard here. Greetings to you, council members and staff, and special greetings to you, citizens of Atlanta, watching and or listening to your government in action. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. Our comments relate to two items on today's agenda. Item I-16, 20R-4067, and item J31, 20-0-1423. Resolution I-16 relates to providing rental assistance through the Consumer Grant Program in the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, otherwise known as the CARES Act. Renters will appreciate the passage of this rental assistance legislation. In item J31, 20-0-1423, relief is provided to renters for whom the security deposit is a barrier to their obtaining a place to live. Landlords who own a designated number of multifamily units are required to offer certain options to tenants in lieu of the required security deposit. This novel approach regarding security deposits will provide relief for many tenants without unduly burdening landlords. Both of these legislative items fall into the general people-caring conversations that Sherry Williams brings to the public microphone. Please consider causing these two items of legislation to be placed on the agendas of NPUs throughout the neighborhood planning system. Be advised, however, that any attempt you might make to add anything at all to that tightly controlled, sparse NPUR agenda will be met with resistance by the NPUR 9, Antonina Robinson, Clovis Clare, Ricardo Jacobs, Renette L. Scott, Alfred White, Allison Hathaway, and the NPUR 9 collaborators.
Hello, my name is Tess Malone, and I am a constituent in Virginia Highlands, Atlanta, Georgia, zip code 30306. And I am calling to ask you to amend the budget with the resolution that the City Council brought up yesterday, 20R4068, to reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Defunding the police should be a priority for you. There are much better ways we can use our money to ensure that people don't even need to rely on police as much. So I am requesting that you defund the police and amend the budget and reallocate the $73 million. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello, my name is Lee Noel. I'm calling to ask that you amend the budget to fund the 20-R-4068 resolution that was approved by the council. Again, my name is Lee Noel. I'm calling to ask that you amend the budget to fund the 20-R-4068 resolution approved by the council. Thank you.
Calling from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm calling to ask that you fund resolution 20-R-4068, reallocating $73 million from the police budget to other departments in the city who are better equipped to address the problems that underlie needing to call the police in the first place. I believe that it was tone deaf and honestly not representative of the people that you are supposed to represent out here, to not only increase the police budget, but then to give them a $500 bonus for being protesters? Not well. But I would like for you to take the time out
lifelong Atlantan living in Ormwood Park. I'm calling to demand that City Council amend its budget, reallocating at least half of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Funding Resolution 20R4068 would be a step in the right direction. I believe in an Atlanta without an oppressive police presence and believe that reallocating police funds is the only way to get there. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kira Hines, and I'm calling because I would like to urge you to fund the Resolution 20R4068 to begin to dismantle and defund the Atlanta Police Department and reallocate those funds towards committees like yours and other committees that should be built that deal with preventative health, that do not resort to violence as a means to oppress, but instead have the understanding of human ability to heal and recover with love and care. And that's what we need to be putting money towards in our communities. You guys are in a position of power, and you need to listen to what the people want, and what the people want is safety. And you know what the cops don't do? Provide safety. So we're asking you to fund a different direction. Please pass this resolution. It's your responsibility. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julia Oliver, and I'm a resident of Kirkwood. I urge you to please begin the necessary steps towards divesting critical funding from the police department. I ask that instead you reallocate funds to our schools, affordable housing, transportation, healthcare, and other community resources. Our communities deserve this, and this is what they are asking you to do. I listened to hours of voicemails, as I know y'all did last week, and every single one of them asked to defund the police. And yet we're still here without a resolution and an agreement to actually reallocate the funds in the budget. Atlanta is looking to you to keep our city on the right side of history. Please don't let us down. Please listen to the people now so that you don't have to listen to them next year during the election when they vote you out. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Chandler Kelly. I'm a lifelong resident of Atlanta and current resident of Midtown, and I'm calling to demand that City Council amend the budget to withhold half of the Atlanta Police Department's portion and reimagine policing in the city of Atlanta. But furthermore, I'm also sick of hearing comments from members of City Council gushing over the great work that APD is doing, congratulating them on their restraint, and fretting over, for instance, whether cops will be able to pay their mortgages. You're probably aware that we're living in the middle of an economic catastrophe right now. Many people are struggling to pay their mortgages. Most of those people have not recently murdered a citizen of Atlanta, have not walked out on their jobs in solidarity with a man who murdered a citizen of Atlanta, have not fired chemical weapons at citizens of Atlanta, and have not beaten, arrested, and maimed citizens of Atlanta. I can promise you, Atlantans are sick of hearing about how fantastic the cops are and how hard they all have it. Cops can find new jobs, just like the rest of us, and APD's budget needs to be slashed immediately. Thank you for listening to my comment. Have a nice day.
Hello, my name is Holly Binns, resident of Atlanta, Georgia, zip code 30306. And I'm requesting you to amend the budget and fund Resolution 20-R-4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Allison Carter, and I live in the North Ormwood Park area. I'm calling to ask that the Community Development and Human Services Committee amend the budget and fund Resolution 20-R-4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. I ask this because I believe that police are no longer serving the common good, and they've been demonstrating that lately, especially with their walkout, and I should say more especially with the murder of Rayshard Brooks. So, they're demonstrating that they're not there to serve and protect, so therefore I request and demand that the police force be reimagined in a form of public safety rather than a form of public intimidation. So amend the budget, fund the resolution for 20R4068, and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Thank you for your time. Please do the right thing.
Hi, my name is Matthew Lahatsid. I'm a resident of Midtown Atlanta. I'm calling the Community Development and Human Services Division within the Atlanta City Council to ask you to please listen to the people on the issues right now and amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068. We are asking to please reallocate $73 million of police funding into reimagined public safety programs led by community leaders, led by marginalized people within our community. Our voices are so loud and strong right now. Please be on the right side of history. Please be on the right side of this issue. The APD has proven they are part of the problem. They are overfunded, and this money is better served in the hands of community leaders that can make our communities safer. Please do the right thing. Please reallocate this money and be on the side of the people. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Erin Clark, and I'm glad you're honored to serve me. And by doing that, you will amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Thank you.
Hi, this is Kelsey Bond. I'm a resident and voter in Fulton County. I'm calling to request that City Council amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068 to reallocate 50% of police funds and to reimagine safety in the city of Atlanta. It is a disservice to the community to not take into account the fact that voters are requesting a different kind of feature for public safety in Atlanta. It is irresponsible to continue to give power to an institution that does not serve the community. I'm requesting no more police brutality, no more shooting of Black men. Instead, invest in the community to create a better future, because Black lives matter.
Hello, my name is Keenan Jones, and I'm representing the members of the City of Atlanta, District 3. We're looking to amend the budget and fund the resolution 20-R-4068, which was narrowly defeated this past weekend. We're looking to relocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. We're looking to limit the scope of what the police have to handle. They are not equipped or trained properly for this. We're looking to limit their scope until we ultimately abolish the police. It is time for a reimagining of public safety. It's what the people are demanding. We're asking you to be on the right side of history and make those changes. Goodbye.
Hi, my name is Jamie Randall. I live in Midtown Atlanta. I'm calling with public comment to again urge City Council members to please amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068 and reallocate $72 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Anastasia Greeley. I am calling to leave a message for the Community Development and Human Services within the Atlanta City Council. And I have some demands as a constituent. I would like you all to amend the budget and to fund Resolution 20-R-4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine how we tackle public safety. Police are disproportionately killing Black people, and they are a harm to our community. And we have to imagine a better future for our children. Police are often called and are first to the scene, but that does not mean that they are the best responders. There are many other professionals who could fill this void, and it does not mean that we need to train the police more. It means that we need to find different ways of taking care of our communities. Please consider taking the $73 million and not giving it to the police, but instead using it to fund transportation, to fund community services, to fund health care, to fund housing services. Think about what would make your community better, and the police is not the answer. As your constituent, I ask you please to not do this. Thank you. Bye.
Hello, my name is Keenan Livermont. I reside in East Atlanta.
I demand that we amend the budget and fund Resolution 20-R-4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Black Lives Matter, defund the police.
Hello, this is Andrea Smith of Fulton County. I am calling on the Community Development and Human Services within the Atlanta City Council to demand that you amend the budget and fund the Resolution 20-R-4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Please do this. Thank you.
Hi, this is Shelby Spencer calling. I'm a resident of District 4 and live in the Old Fourth Ward. I'm calling to ask to please amend the budget and fund Resolution 20-4-4068. We need to reallocate the police funding toward other nonviolent resources for the community that will actually build the community and reduce the over-policing in so many of our primarily Black neighborhoods in the city. I'm not sure why, with thousands of phone calls and hours of testimony from residents, that we are still unable to vote in a way that represents the desires of the city's residents. So I encourage you to have another look and amend the budget accordingly. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Katie Bullard. I'm calling to ask that you amend the budget and fund Resolution 20-R-4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety to better our community and make it safer and better Atlanta for everyone. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Studer. I am in Fulton County in the South Park Place residence neighborhood. I'm calling to ask that there's an amendment to the budget and that we fund the Resolution 20-R-4068 and we reallocate about $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety and invest in education and our neighborhoods. I am very disappointed with the conduct of our police officers, and there needs to be some real reworking of what we are doing here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Adora Poon, and I am calling to urge you to amend the budget and fund Resolution 20-R-4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Community development and human services within our city is so important. And if we can reallocate this money from the police funds, I'm sure that would benefit community development and human services as well. So again, I urge you to amend the budget and fund Resolution 20-R-4068. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.
My name is Lauren Livingood, and I'm calling to advocate for the reallocation of $73 million of police funds into community development and other public safety projects. I'd also like to encourage you to amend the budget and fund Resolution 20-R-4068. Thank you so much for your consideration. My name is Lauren Livingood, and I'm calling to advocate for the reallocation of $73 million of police funds into community development and other public safety projects. I'd also like to encourage you to amend the budget and fund Resolution 20-R-4068. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Hi, my name is Lina Vargas, and I live in Grand Park, and I'm calling to request that the budget be amended and that Resolution 20-R-4068 is funded and that police funds be reallocated in order to rethink how public safety works in Atlanta. Thank you.
Hi, this is Emily Diffenderfer. I'm a resident in Reynoldstown. I'm calling again to remind the Council of the People's request to amend the FY21 budget to hold 50% or more of the Atlanta Police Department's funding while this group who's going to imagine public safety in our city prepares their report. This weekend, you passed the budget despite hours of constituent feedback, so we're not going to stop until we reach a threshold at which you decide to hear us. It would be great if you could put these dollars in the string account that was vetted by Councilwoman Ide, or possibly share the wealth with your city planning department. I bet they would like that. I'd sure love to see more surveys and community collaboration on future development in our city. It would be amazing to actually offer affordable housing, to shelter our homeless, and offer other programs that help people in need. You know that we want a reimagined version of public safety and stronger community services. Stop protecting the aggressors and prove that you're listening to the people. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Ariel Duncan. I live in East Atlanta Village, and I am calling to thank you for the work that you do for the people of Atlanta, including me. And I also just want to say that there is no meeting that will be complete for the City of Atlanta, for the City Council, until you are able to adjust the budget so that it reflects the values of the people of this city. And the values of the people of this city is that Black Lives Matter. And it's not appropriate to continue going forward the way that this country has for the last 400 years. And I know that you may feel that you have other things that you need to do today, but there's nothing else. There's nothing that's more important than this. So please, Fund Resolution 20-R-4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds so we can reimagine public safety. We need you to do this. This city cannot grow. This city cannot move forward as long as it is a place where it is dangerous to be Black. This city has such a strong and powerful history, and I moved here from Seattle. I work in the tech field, and what drew me to Atlanta was that it is a Black Mecca, was that Black culture has been supported and honored in this city. And I'll be damned if y'all go and throw it away by funding the police $73 million that they don't deserve. They don't deserve it. There's no argument that you can tell me that will make me believe that it's worth it. It's just not. It's not worth it. The risks that come to the safety and the security of people of Atlanta are just not worth it. We need to send a message to the police that they must change, and that we don't need as many of them. We can handle it ourselves. And I think you all are part of figuring out that solution. So thank you, and thanks for taking this seriously.
Jonathan Williams, Reynoldstown. Defund the police. Amends the proposed budget and help fund Resolution 20-R-4068. Helps to reallocate funds away from the police and into community services to help us reimagine public safety.
Hello, my name is Lauren Coleman. I'm an Atlanta resident. I'm calling for the Community Development and Human Services Committee within the Atlanta City Council. I'm urging you to push to amend the budget and to fund the recent resolution to reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. I truly believe our communities need to be enriched with this funding money, and that other departments, such as initiatives towards community development and human services, could benefit from these reallocated funds as we work to reimagine what the police could look like in Atlanta. Clearly, the system we have right now is not set up to serve and protect the public. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Rachel Will. I live in Kirkwood, and I'm making a message for Community Development and Human Services. I'm calling to ask you to amend the budget to fund Resolution 20-R-4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds to reimagine public safety. I was quite disappointed to see that the resolution did not pass, and I really want to implore those of you on the committee to really think about what the people of Atlanta need. It is not more policing, it is more services that actually keep people safe.
This should be a no-brainer in Atlanta, which is supposed to be a city of great imagination, of great care for residents that are just for everyone, and to see the committee not fully back up the needs of the people is really disappointing. More police presence will not keep us safe, and we really need a city council that will make sure that we have what we need to thrive, and that includes everyone thriving, not just those who, live behind gated fences and alarm systems that are worried about if we defund the police that they're suddenly going to be victims of crimes. These aren't the people we need to protect. So those of you saying that you need to protect your constituents, saying that they're worried that they won't be safe, that's bullshit. It's become a bottom line issue for voters. So if you can't be there to protect us and what we need, we will vote in someone who will. And it shows a great lack of empathy to see all of us marching in the streets and to not realize that this is a pivotal moment, most significant civil rights movement of our era, and to not support that, and to not realize that policing does not keep Black and brown communities safe. It does not protect the people that you have been elected to serve. It's the use of our tax dollars to criminalize and to attack people that have done nothing wrong, and it's just a terrible system. So please, I implore you to take these steps. Thank you.
Hi, this is Leah Harmer from Atlanta, Georgia. I am demanding that we amend the budget and fund resolution 20-R-4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. We have progressed past the need for the corrupt police, and it's good to defund them, so we got to do it.
Hi, my name is Quinn Baldacci. I live over in Kirkwood in Atlanta, and I'm calling today to ask you to amend the budget and fund resolution 20-R-4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. It's time for Atlanta to defund the police and reinvest in our community to make our whole city safer for everybody. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anna Zimitravich, and I live in Lakewood in Fulton County in District 5. And I would like to see the budget amended and for funding of resolution 20-R-4068 to reallocate the $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. The police needs to be defunded, and we need to reallocate that money into other community resources. Thank you. Bye.
Hello, my name is Timothy LePage. I'm leaving a public comment to urge Atlanta City Council members to fund Resolution 20-R-4068. I request that this measure be funded fully in order to reduce the police department budget and audit appropriate use of funds for the department and reducing their annual budget. I believe that this is important and will allow this committee to provide increased services to the city and its residents, including those pertaining to mental health, drug rehabilitation, and youth services. And I strongly urge you, and please request that you fund Resolution 20-R-4068. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Allison Kaufman. I live in District 5. And I'm calling to ask that the CDHS committee amend the budget that was recently passed this past Saturday and fund Resolution 20-R-4068. In particular, we're looking for the reallocation of $73 million in police funds to go towards reimagining community safety. I think a lot of this money could be used for the very important work that the Community Development and Human Services Committee does in funding health and funding other social services in our communities. I know that this resolution was voted down in a very slim margin, and that there is a lot of support for this and putting money behind a lot of the commitments that the City Council discussed last week. So again, I encourage you to please pass the resolution and to commit to reallocating this money and working with community to reimagine safety. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Kelly Alexander, and I am leaving a public comment to urge Atlanta City Council members to fund Resolution 20R4068. I support the implementation of trained unarmed professionals to respond to calls on nonviolent crime matters. And in an effort to create safer neighborhoods, I'm calling for immediate stopgaps, such as those contained in 8 Can't Wait and other successful initiatives throughout the country and world. Police officers do need to be held accountable for their actions, and policies need to be revisited or created to ensure that first responders are not unjustly protected by the law. It's extremely important to dismantle oppressive systems such as racism that fuel the root causes of crime, including lack of access to stable, affordable housing, high-quality public education, and economic opportunity. The Atlanta Police Department budget needs to be held for QR and Q4 of fiscal year 2021 in a public safety and community support restricted fund, while a review of the city's approach to public safety and policing is conducted. Additionally, the Atlanta Police Department budget needs a full audit to determine appropriate use of funds and ways to reduce their annual budget. Reducing the Atlanta Police Department's annual budget will allow us to reallocate money into wraparound services such as education, housing, mental health services, drug rehabilitation programs, and youth services. Please fund Resolution 20R4068. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Josh Wendling. I'm a homeowner in the city of Atlanta and DeKalb County. I'm calling in reference to the amending of the budget and the funding of Resolution 20R4068, the reallocation of public funds in order to reimagine public safety, defunding the police, and changing the $73 million that are used for policing that doesn't adequately provide public safety into other avenues that might. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Kelly Alexander, and I'm leading a public comment to urge Atlanta City Council members to fund Resolution 20R4068. I support the implementation of trained unarmed professionals to respond to calls on nonviolent crime matters. In an effort to create safer neighborhoods, I'm calling for immediate stopgaps, such as those contained in 8 Can't Wait and other successful initiatives throughout the country and the world. Police officers do need to be held accountable for their actions, and policies need to be revisited or created to ensure that first responders are not unjustly protected by the law. It's extremely important to dismantle oppressive systems such as racism that fuel the root causes of crime, including lack of access to stable, affordable housing, high-quality public education, and economic opportunity. The Atlanta Police Department budget needs to be held for Q3 and Q4 of fiscal year 2021 in a public safety and community support restricted fund, while a review of the city's approach to public safety and policing is conducted. Additionally, the Atlanta Police Department budget needs a full audit to determine appropriate use of funds and ways to reduce their annual budget. Reducing the Atlanta Police Department's annual budget will allow us to reallocate the money into wraparound services such as education, housing, mental health services, drug rehabilitation programs, and youth services. Please, please, please fund Resolution 20R4068. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Autumn Stevens, and I just wanted to voice my opinion, ask that you amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068. And I also like you to reallocate the $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Good morning. I'm Sierra Castano. I'm a resident of West End, and
I urge the council to amend the budget to reallocate $73 million of police funds to reimagine public safety. I think it's crucial in these times that we listen to the people who are negatively affected by police violence and police overreach, and we have a responsibility to care for our neighbors. Thank you so much.
Budget be amended and fund resolution 20-468 and we $3 million funds against public safety. It is imperative that our communities would be protected. In this lives in South and West Atlanta. So, and fund resolution, if we allocate 70,
my name is Alexa Kravitz, and I am a resident of Reynoldstown, and I wanted to urge you to rethink how our police force is working. We need to amend the budget and fund resolution 20R4068 to reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Current systems aren't working, and in fact pose a danger to the citizens of Atlanta. We need to really change how this is operating and make it safer for everyone here through funding other ways that can provide this safety. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shannon Duffy, and I live in the 5th District in Fulton County. And I'm calling to address the community development and human services within the Atlanta City Council. And I'm demanding that y'all amend the budget and fund resolution 20R4068 and reallocate the $73 million of the police funds in order to reimagine public safety. The police have a terrible track record recently and long-term historically as people who don't actually keep people safe but who are endangering residents in Atlanta. And those funds could be better used to reimagine a system that actually does provide safety and resources for people in need instead of showing up and using force to brutalize and terrorize its citizens. Thank you. Bye.
Hello, my name is Amelia Conrad. I live in Atlanta's District 2. I'm calling to ask that you amend the city budget and fund resolution 20R4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Thank you and have a good day.
Hello, my name is Courtney Smith. I'm a resident of Atlanta, Georgia. I've lived here my entire life. I am calling with a few demands, not requests, demands of your people that you are supposed to serve, and you say it's an honor to serve us. So this is our voice, and this is what we have to say. We demand that you all amend the budget and fund resolution for the 20-R4-4068, plus reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. We have seen time and time again that the police are not here to protect and serve. They're here to protect and serve the selective few and not the majority. They are not here for us. They are not here to protect and serve us. They do not care about us nor our lives. Yes, there are good cops out there, but it is built on a foundation that was against Black people, that was against people of color, and was built on something that it only evolved. It was a slave patrol, and now it's police patrolling, yet it's only policing Black people at not only, but at such higher alarming rates than other races, it cannot go unnoticed. So a couple of recommendations that you can do with that money. Reallocate it to communities that are underfunded, that don't have rec centers, good schools, free lunch, buildings and communities that are falling apart. Money could be used for so many other things. Build more homeless shelters. There are thousands of people in the Atlanta City area alone that are homeless, and we can help them by taking this money that obviously isn't being used for good use and put it to something for people that actually need it. Thank you and have a great day.
Hi, my name is Sarah Taylor, and I'm a resident of Decatur. I am calling to ask you to amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Susie McGee, and I'm a resident of the city of Atlanta. I'm calling because I'd like for the budget to be amended to fund Resolution 20-R-4068 and to also reallocate $73 million that's currently being proposed for police funding so that we can put that towards actual public safety and not the police. Thank you very much, and you all take care.
Hi, my name is Sophia DeLuca. I am an Atlanta resident. I am calling to ask the council to amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068 to reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. I just want to remind everyone that defunding the police is the best option at this point to support and protect Black lives. Thank you so much. Bye.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Hagedorn, and I'm a resident of Virginia Highlands in the city of Atlanta. And I'm calling you, urging you to amend the budget to fully fund Resolution 20R4068, as well as to reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. This is such a critical moment for our city to show that Black lives really do matter. Thank you.
My name is Clara Sage. I am a resident of Fulton County in Atlanta. My comment for the Community Development and Human Services Council committee meeting is that you please amend the budget of the city and fund Resolution 20R4068. In addition to that, I would comment that you please reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety in Atlanta, including, of course, redistributing funds in order to support other social services in the city. I find this incredibly important, and I really hope that the committee will consider this comment. Thank you very much.
Hi, it's Aaron Wilfer here. I was calling about amending the budget. I think we should reallocate the $73 million of the police funds into the public safety, and we should back the 20R4068 resolution. I think public safety and really working communities is a much better way to build a better society than policing and beating everyone down into submission. I don't think that's ever really worked. So that would be super great if we just didn't give the abusers more power. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Hello, my name is Olivia Feeney, and I live in Grant Park in Atlanta. I'm calling to demand that you all amend the budget and fund Resolution 20R4068 and reallocate $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. There are so many other places that those funds could go that would actually keep our communities safe instead of continuing to fund the police, which we know just further terrorizes communities, especially Black communities and communities of color. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Helena Herring, and I live in Midtown in Atlanta. And I'm calling because I hope that as a city council, y'all will prioritize defunding the police. I was so encouraged to see on Saturday, y'all take up and pass the resolution to put 50% of the budget into a holding account while y'all could figure out a way to make the system work better. And very, very disappointed that then y'all didn't put your money where your mouth is, and the budget has stayed the same. My question question to you as elected representatives of this city where the police are murdering innocent people and have done for years with no accountability and no restrictions placed on them is, what are you going to do today, immediately, to fix this problem? I hope that you will change your minds, go back to that budget, and defund the Atlanta Police Department. If you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail, and the police in our city are armed to the teeth and trained to kill, and so that's what they're going to do. Please defund the police.
This is Ryan Peach. I live in Fulton County in Midtown. I'm calling to say that the budget committee the other day was a disgrace. We absolutely need to defund the police. We cannot be giving them raises and giving out more and more money. If they want their raises, they can have them, but they should sell some of their equipment, some of their guns, some of their military equipment on our streets. The way they've treated us is atrocious, just absolutely human rights violation. The way that they continue to treat people when they're on their normal duty is atrocious. Half of them should be fired, but we're giving them raises, so I guess that's what we're doing now. And just kind of tack on to that, we need to end the drug-related prison sentences. We need to defund our prison system and get those guys out of jail. We need to end broken window policing. If we stopped arresting people over these little things, they wouldn't have to do their job as much, and then we could have less cost, which is the end goal here. And we need to end people just like, oh, he's suspicious. We need to pull him over and harass him. No, that's a human rights violation. Pass marijuana legalization, full recreational use, $0 in court. And give out restorative justice to people that are, given drug-related crimes, like put them through rehab, stop putting them in prison. I yield my time.
Hi, my name is Maria Sapnikova. I live in the city of Atlanta, specifically District 3, which is represented by Antonio Brown. On June 19th, the City Council voted and passed Resolution 20-R-4086. And this resolution requires that the mayor and the police produce a report containing thoughtful, significant, and comprehensive changes to our public safety system by December 1st, 2020. An earlier version of this resolution made $73 billion of the Atlanta Police Department budget contingent on providing this report. Unfortunately, in a second vote, the council failed to set aside these funds, and Resolution 20-R-4086 now lacks the necessary resources to be effective. Therefore, I am trying to ask that the committee amends the budget and funds Resolution 20-R-4086, reallocating $73 million of police funds in order to reimagine public safety. Thank you.
And that concludes our public comment.
Thank you very much. Ms. Puladini, would you move on and read our one item on the consent agenda?
Yes, item number 1, 20-01468, an ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee to waive provisions of Part 3, Code of Ordinances, Land Development Code, Part 16, Zoning, Chapter 9, Definitions, Section 16-29.00173, Supportive Housing of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances for the purpose of waiving the distance requirements for development located at 424 Decatur Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30312, known as Macaulay Park, and development at 251 Anderson Avenue, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314, known as the Mallory, and for other purposes.
Thank you very much. And on to our regular agenda.
Items 2 through 9 appeared on yesterday evening's second quarter CDP hearing agenda. All items will need to be held either for deferment to the third quarter hearing or for their zoning counterpart to catch up. Would the committee like to take these as a block?
Yes, please.
Item number 2, 20-1400, CDP-20-004, an ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee to amend the land use element of the 2016 Atlanta Comprehensive Development Plan so as to redesignate property located at 160 Little Street Southeast from the single-family residential land use designation to the medium-density residential land use designation and for other purposes, C-19-121 NPUV, Council District 1. Item number 3, 20-1401, CDP-20-010, an ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee to amend the land use element of the 2016 Atlanta Comprehensive Development Plan so as to redesignate property located at 1596 Willowbrook Drive Southwest from the single-family residential land use designation to the low-density residential land use designation and for other purposes, V-20-011, NPUF, Council District 12. Item number 4, 20-0-1402, CDP-20-011. An ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee to amend the land use element of the 2016 Atlanta Comprehensive Development Plan so as to redesignate property located at 255 Love Street Southwest from the single-family residential land use designation to the low-density residential land use designation and for other purposes, C-20-018 NPUV, Council District 4. Item number 5, 20-0-1404, CDP-20-014, an ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee to amend the land use element of the 2016 Atlanta Comprehensive Development Plan so as to redesignate property located at 536 North Avenue Northeast from the low-density commercial land use designation to the mixed-use high-density land use designation, and 615 and 617 Kennesaw Avenue Northeast from the low-density residential land use designation to the mixed-use high-density land use designation, and for the purposes, B-20-029 NPUM, Council District 2. Item number 6, 20-0-1405, CDP-20-015, an ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee to amend the land use element of the 2016 Atlanta Comprehensive Development Plan so as to redesignate property located at 1750 Chattahoochee Avenue Northwest from the industrial land use designation to the high-density residential land use designation and for other purposes, D-20-032 NPUD, Council District 9. Item number 7, 20-0-1406, CDP-20-016, an ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee to amend the land use element of the 2016 Atlanta Comprehensive Development Plan so as to redesignate property located at 1593 and 1595 Chattahoochee Avenue Northwest from the industrial land use designation to the mixed-use medium-density land use designation and for other purposes, D-20-033 NPUD, Council District 9. And item number 8, 20-0-1407, CDP-20-017, an ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee to amend the land use element of the 2016 Atlanta Comprehensive Development Plan so as to redesignate property located at 1661 Chattahoochee Avenue Northwest from the industrial land use designation to the very high-density residential land use designation and for other purposes, C-20-034 NPUD, Council District 9. And my apologies, I believe I skipped over item number 3. I'll just read that in real quick. 20-0-1401, CDP-20-010, an ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee to amend the land use element of the 2016 Atlanta Comprehensive Development Plan so as to redesignate property located at 1596 Willowbrook Drive Southwest from the single-family residential land use designation to the low-density residential land use designation and for other purposes, B-20-011 NPUS, Council District 12. And finally, item number 9, 20-0-1408, CDP-20-020, an ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee to amend the land use element of the 2016 Atlanta Comprehensive Development Plan so as to redesignate certain properties within the proposed Ponce Highland Historic District from various land use designations to various land use designations to implement the proposed Ponce Highland Historic District and for the purposes, B-20-15 NPUN, Council District 2. And again, the recommendation is to hold.
If there are no questions or comments, I will make a motion to hold. Is there a second?
Second, Smith.
Mr. Faroki. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to make sure these were going to be held. Yes, that's all. Thank you.
Good deal. Motion by Westmoreland, second by Smith. Please open that vote. Four yeas, 0 nays. Those items are held. Next item.
Item number 10, 20-0-1409, CDP-20-021, an ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee to amend the land use element of the 2016 Atlanta Comprehensive Development Plan so as to redesignate property located at 1230 North Avenue Northwest, 1230 North Avenue Northwest, and 0 North Avenue Northwest rear from the open space land use designation to the mixed use land use designation, 1268 North Avenue Northwest, 1254 North Avenue Northwest, 1254 North Avenue rear Northwest, and 0 North Avenue from the low density residential land use designation to the mixed use land use designation, 425 Chapel Road Northwest from the high density residential land use designation to the mixed use land use designation, and 1345 Mason Turner Road Northwest, 1365 Mason Turner Road Northwest, 0 North Avenue Northwest rear, and 0 North Avenue Northwest rear from the very high density residential land use designation to the mixed use land use designation, and for the purposes B-20-040 NPUK Council District 3. And there is a substitute in your packet which amends the proposed land use designations and updates the map.
I will make a motion to bring forward the substitute.
Yeah. Second.
Vote is open.
Four yeas, 0 nays. The substitute is before us. We need to hold this paper as well. Is that right?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Then I will make a motion to hold.
Yeah.
Second by Westmoreland.
Vote is open.
4 yeas, 0 nays. That item is held. Next up.
Our next item is number 11, 20-0-1437, an ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to enter into Amendment Number 1 to ratify SB-8765 Land Management Remote Application Hosting and Maintenance Services with Acela, Inc. to establish the initial contract terms to be April 1, 2016 through March 31, 2019, and to correct Resolution 19-R-3515, Renewal Number 1, terms from July 7, 2016 through July 6, 2019 to be April 1, 2019 through March 31, 2020, also to execute Renewal Number 2 retroactively beginning April 1, 2020 through March 31, 2021 in accordance with Section 2-1163 of Article 10 Procurement and Real Estate Code for the purpose of Acela Land Management Remote Application Hosting and Maintenance on behalf of the Department of City Planning for a term of 1 year in an amount not to exceed $480,714.67. All contracted work shall be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein and for other purposes. And there is an amendment in your packet which adds the section title of Section 2-1163.
I'll make a motion to amend.
Second, Smith.
Four yeas, 0 nays. The item is amended. If there are no other further questions or comments, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, Smith.
Motion to approve is amended by Smith, second by Westmoreland.
Vote is open.
4 yeas, 0 nays. That item is adopted. Next item.
Item number 12, 20-0-1438, an ordinance by Community Development Human Services Committee authorizing the mayor to accept a grant from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for an FY 2020 Brownfield Assessment Cooperative Agreement in the amount of $300,000.00, amending the 2020 Intergovernmental Grant Fund budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations in the amount of $300,000 and for other purposes, and the department has provided a map of the Brownfield Assessment Grant Target Area for your information.
Move to approve, Smith.
Motion by Smith. Is there a second?
Second, Faruqi.
Second by Faruqi. If there are no other questions or comments,
vote is open.
4 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable. Thank you. Next item.
Item number 13, 20-0-1447, an ordinance by Councilmember Natalie M. Archibong authorizing the Chief Procurement Officer or his designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta to negotiate for the acquisition of approximately 3.19 acres of real property located at 770 Shadow Ridge Drive, Atlanta, Georgia. DeKalb County tax parcel ID listed for the purpose of passive green space in City Council District 5, authorizing the mayor or her designee on behalf of the city to execute all documents necessary to acquire the property, authorizing the acquisition cost in an amount not to exceed $400,000 and 0 cents to be paid from Development Impact Fees Park South, amending the 2020 General Government Capital Outlay Fund budget, Department of Parks and Recreation and Finance Parks South Service District by transferring to and from various accounts, authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute a memorandum of understanding agreement with the East Atlanta Community Association for maintenance of the green space, waiving Section 2-1541 of the Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, Article 10, and for other purposes. And there is an amendment in your packet which adds the map of the property and a missing account string.
I move that amendment be approved.
Second.
Vote is open.
Four yeas, 0 nays. Item is amended. Ms. Archibald, do you have any comments or a motion?
Yeah, I mean, I have both, but I would think a motion. Motion to approve as amended.
Second.
Vote is open.
Four yeas, 0 nays. That item is adopted as amended. You want
Thank you.
to go with your comments now?
The comment was just thank you very much for this. This is a piece of acreage that I think will be complementary to our city's vision of having more forested land. It doesn't compete with Lake Charlotte in any way, but it'd be really, really important for East Atlanta and nearby communities. So I thank everyone for their support.
You're here. Next item.
Item number 14, 20-0-1451, an ordinance by Councilmember Joyce M. Shepherd to amend ordinance number 20-0-1215, which was adopted by the Atlanta City Council on April 20th, 2020, and approved by the mayor on April 24th, 2020, such that all exhibits referenced therein shall be properly attached thereto in accordance with Section 158-66 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes.
If there are no questions or comments, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion by Smith.
Smith, sorry.
Sounds okay. Second by Westmoreland. Please open the vote.
Vote is open.
4 yeas, 0 nays. That item is adopted. Next item.
Item number 15, 20-0-1457, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone, authorizing the mayor on behalf of the City of Atlanta to exercise renewal option number one with American King Joint Venture for FC 10383 Pools and Splash Pads Management and Maintenance on behalf of the Department of Parks and Recreation and enter into amendment number 1 to add funding to fulfill additional security and maintenance repair services during the summer season in an amount not to exceed $475,000 with the retroactive date of May 1, 2020, ratifying any payments made by the city and the acceptance of any services rendered since May 1st, 2020, and for other purposes. Excuse me, and there's an amendment in your packet which adds language related to Section 2-1163, Article 10 of the Procurement and Real Estate Code.
I will make a motion to amend. Second by Smith. Four yeas, 0 nays. The item is amended. Any other questions, comments, or a motion?
Motion to approve as amended.
Motion by Smith, second by Westmoreland.
Vote is open.
And closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable as amended. On to resolutions.
All right, item number 16, 20-R-4067, a resolution by Councilmembers Matt Westmoreland and Joyce M. Shepard, approving a deployment plan for funds allocated for rental assistance through the Consumer Grant Program in the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act and for other purposes. And there is an amendment in your packet which attaches Exhibit A, which is the deployment strategy, and also reduces the number of households served from 7,300 to 6,700 in the 11th whereas clause.
Good deal. Thank you, colleagues. Before we make the motion to amend, Ms. Lee, our Chief Housing Officer, is here, and if you go to the original handout packet that you received electronically this morning, the amendment can be found on page 15, and then the slide deck outlining the process by which these $22 million will be deployed is from slide 18 to slide 30, and Ms. Lee is with us here to briefly walk us through that slide deck before we attach it to the legislation and move it on to FEC, I believe. So, Ms. Lee, take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. It's Terry Lee, Chief Housing Officer, Office of the Mayor. I want to thank the Council first for the consideration several weeks ago in increasing the allocation to $22 million. The original allocation for emergency rental assistance was $16.9 million of the $88 million the city received for the relief funding. Based upon the need that many of you saw from a housing perspective, that was increased by $5.1 million. So we sincerely appreciate that. The slide deck before you really sets the framework of the current situation that's before us, but also how the city would move towards in identifying the solution to address. If you go to slide 2. One of the things we've noticed is that Atlanta faced affordability crisis prior to the pandemic. And what the pandemic has done has only increased that crisis, but it also has shown the importance of the link between housing and public health. Because the one thing that we knew is that people needed shelter. As a result of the pandemic, we've recognized that there is a significant need for rental assistance, and quite honestly, just to ensure that people can maintain housing. We know that as the courts reopen, right now we've had judicial orders that have been extended since the start of the pandemic, but we know that those orders expire mid-July. And as courts reopen and evictions resume, we very well may hit a tsunami where we see thousands and thousands of our individuals here within the city of Atlanta faced with homelessness. We worked with the Atlanta Regional Commission to complete an analysis understanding how many Atlanta residents were already cost burdened prior to the pandemic. And we found a great majority of our renters, and that's basically folks making $50,000 or less, were already significantly cost burdened. 62% of our rental households making between $0 to $25,000 a year were cost burdened, with 32% of our households making between $25,000 to $50,000 a year being cost burdened. We also understand that folks within that income category basically are in occupations that have been threatened with job loss or income reduction. We've seen our unemployment numbers rise since 1990 to almost 14 to 16%. We also have worked with several cities across the country looking at how they look to address the immediate need, the emergency need for housing assistance for families to keep them in a stable environment. What we have found is that other cities have not been able to meet the demand. They've used their general fund. They've also used federal funding, but each time they've opened the application cycle, they clearly have received more requests and more need for assistance than funding they had available. Please go to the next slide. On the next slide, we complete an analysis understanding, based upon the current rental households we have in the city of Atlanta, what occupations they actually are currently in. We identified that of our families, we have about 29,000 renter households that are in occupations that are basically maybe at risk for either layoff or job reduction. Those occupations include our service industry, our retail industry, as well as hotel industry. We also further were able to analyze that of that 29,000 households, 16,000 of those families are making below $50,000 a year. And so when we think through a rental assistance program, we want to be able to meet the demand for folks who are now faced with housing insecurity as a result of being impacted by COVID-19. Most of the households that we're speaking of are currently have an average housing cost of about $875 a month, and that's only looking at their monthly rent. That's not including utilities. Next slide, please. And so working with several of our colleagues across the country and even working with our practitioners and stakeholders here in Atlanta, we basically looked at how programs were being established, how programs were being set up, and what were the eligibility requirements for those programs. What we found is that most programs, especially during this time period, are really focused on residents that are directly affected by COVID. And that's either affected because they've had reduced hours, they're staying at home with children because of a lack of child care, or they've lost employment. We also have found that most programs are paying, of course, rent, utility, as well as security deposits. The rental payment also includes rental arrears, where cities are coming in to help basically catch a person up or a household up in order to forego an eviction. Many of the programs basically ask the residents to have exhausted any other available funding prior to being able to apply for assistance. And so most residents may be able to qualify for unemployment benefits, and if they are able to qualify for unemployment benefits, and we saw this with the city of San Antonio, those benefits in some cases exceeded what their actual income was, and so they were able to utilize that versus being able to qualify for the rental. The one thing that has been probably a burden in most areas, and I don't see us having that problem now, especially with most of the cities and states offices opening up, is basically residents being able to have the required documentation, and specifically looking at Social Security cards, driver's license, or any type of identification. Most of the federal offices and even state offices have services available here online. It's just not as fast as it would be if you had the in-person service. So that's one of the things we found. We also have found that cities are doing this program in multiple ways. Some are doing the direct funding model, and that's where the city directly administers the program themselves. Typically, this type of activity would have been administered through the city's Department of Grants and Community Development. Other cities have utilized an approach called the centralized funding model, and that's where the city identifies a third-party administrator to come in and supplement the activities and basically serve as a direct provider on behalf of the city of Atlanta. We have several examples of that. One example, of course, is in Houston, Texas, as well as Santa Clara County, where they both have identified third-party administrators utilizing both, in their case, it was general fund as well as federal funds to administer the program on their behalf. Next slide, please. So in establishing the COVID-19 Emergency Rental Assistance Program, even in identifying a third-party administrator, it was really important for the city to set forth the guidelines, the eligibility criteria, as well as the prioritization. We worked very closely with local stakeholders, including members of House ATL, to really understand how programs were currently being set up, but also what was the need here within the city of Atlanta. And so the program that we have proposed, assistance will be capped at $1,000 per month, and that would include both rent as well as any utility expenses that would be qualified for payment, not to exceed a total of over a 3-month period. The funds will be paid directly to either the landlord or the utility provider. I do have to note, we've worked with law to determine that any past due water bills are not eligible because that would be the city basically using federal funds to pay itself. And so it would only be utilities that are non-regulated by the local unit of government. Once the payment is made, as well as by the current landlord and or service provider, and then applicants will be required at the time of assessment to provide documentation showing their income and their eligibility. The income will be determined based upon their current income and what their income is as of this month, as of the time of assistance. From we're looking at our family to the AMI. The AMI numbers you have before you, they're 6% or less. The AMI numbers that you have before you represent the 2019 and 20 numbers increased by about $400 per income spectrum. And looking again, 1 to 4 person households, what, 60% or less. A key consideration is that the family has to have been impacted by COVID-19. Because they're utilizing the coronavirus relief funding, that is the primary and the most probably important eligibility criteria that we've been provided from our compliance team, as well as law, that we will have to be able to prove that the family is affected directly by COVID-19. The family will have to have a current executed lease with a property owner, single family or multifamily property owner, as well as the current place of residence has to be within the city of Atlanta. I just received a text that I'm going in and out. Can you hear me well?
It was a little spotty at the beginning, but the last couple of minutes you have been pretty clear on my end.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Another key component is that families that are assisted cannot be receiving any other rental subsidies. So that's either from the Housing Trust Voucher Program, any of the DASH vouchers, or any programs such as home tenant-based rental assistance, or even the continuous care. So we're basically not double dipping on public subsidy and providing rental assistance. We are expecting to serve approximately 6,700 households. Priority will be granted to families with children, as well as lower income earning households and other vulnerable populations, including our elderly, our veterans, as well as our disabled individuals. Next slide, please. So I mentioned earlier, I talked a little bit about the centralized coordination model earlier. The city elected to identify a third-party administrator. In order to do that process, we worked with the Department of Procurement through a competitive process. We did a competitive solicitation process. We received a total of 2 proposals. Those proposals were received by the city on June 15th. We actually opened the process on June 5th and the proposals in on June 15th. United Way of Greater Atlanta was the selected proposer, and United Way has a long history of administering these type of programs. And joining us today, we have Milton Little, the CEO of United Way, as well as Kristen McCullum, the Chief Financial Officer, and Pratik Biswas, one of the Vice Presidents for Homelessness and Housing, and then as well as our CEO, Timothy, please forgive me for forgetting Timothy's last name. But United Way will administer this program on behalf of the City of Atlanta through a full-program approach. They will work to identify service providers to work with them to directly provide the assistance to eligible households. They will work with identifying eligible applicants, complete the assessment as well as any screening. Then again, with participant enrollment, as well as, and I think this is probably one of the most important pieces, to work with the service providers to provide ongoing case management, because we recognize that if a family is in need of rental assistance, they're in need of rental assistance because they're now in an unstable housing position. And so we want to provide ongoing case management to move that family to housing stability. Part of the services will be both direct and indirect, where they'll be working, of course, with the initial assessment as well as the service providers, but also from an ongoing project management and monitoring perspective, they'll be working with the service providers to provide outreach in order to make sure that people are aware of the program, access to the program, and being able to apply for it. They will also work with the City of Atlanta in producing a weekly as well as monthly program report so that we can make sure that the program is moving along and from a very strong compliance perspective. The next slide, please. So on the roles and responsibilities, there are really 3 entities. Again, United Way is our program administrator, the selected service providers, as well as the City of Atlanta. I spoke already about United Way, of course, selecting service providers, providing contract management, as well as managing the disbursement process. And then the city will be doing weekly reports as well as monthly check-ins with United Way. The service providers, this process will be an open application process where United Way will actually issue an RFP to eligible nonprofit organizations here within the City of Atlanta who have the capacity to complete this type of work. Once those service providers are selected, and we're estimating that we'll probably, because of the volume of the program, we may select between 12 to 15 service providers. We're estimating then that those service providers will, again, once receiving the referral of the actual participant, they then will provide ongoing case management, but as well as working with the participant in their ongoing housing situation. And some of that will even include in negotiating with the landlord if there are any past rental payments that are due. We want to make sure that we're not spending all the funds allocated on past rent, but making sure that a family has stable housing moving forward. The City of Atlanta, of course, would have compliance management oversight. My office will be working very closely with the risk management team, as well as Landmark Consulting in providing compliance management oversight, as well as reporting and performance measurement. That's really important because our team is not necessarily set up for that compliance piece. So the fact that the city, through risk management, has that ability to perform that function is going to be really great using Landmark Consulting. Again, United Way, as our program administrator, will be responsible for program implementation, strong coordination across all of our stakeholders, but also doing monitoring as well as reporting progress. One of the things that I should point out that I haven't said before is that the consumer outreach is going to be very important to make sure that people are aware of the program. What we have seen in other cities, that as soon as the application is made available or as soon as the process is open, it closes within 3 to 5 days because of the demand. And so one of the things we want to do here in the City of Atlanta is we want to make sure we get the word out. And so we will start working with United Way to do marketing, quite honestly, once the contract is signed. We're in the process now of working with United Way on finalizing the details of the contractual relationship. And once we have the contract signed, we'll be working with them on consumer outreach. Next slide. I spoke a little before about the selection of service providers. Again, service providers will have to be nonprofit organizations, have strong relationships and trust within the community. And this is very important because we're working on a very quick time frame, but more important than the quick time frame, we have people who are in need. They have to have the capacity, the demonstrated capacity to execute this program within this grant period. Our service providers will be connected to 211, and that's how they will make sure that they get the referrals for any applicant that has been deemed to be eligible for assessment and assistance. The next slide just basically shows you how United Way will work in coordination with the potential applicants as well as the service providers on fund deployment for this program. Ideally, a resident will call 211. Once a resident calls the United Way 211 system, the 211 representative will conduct the initial assessment and then provide a hard referral to the service provider. That initial assessment, of course, will be looking at determining whether or not the family has been impacted by COVID-19, determining what the family's income level is, as well as if there's any other assistance that the family is qualified or able to receive. If a family is deemed not eligible for participation in this program, United Way will use their network of other programs and other services to still try to help the family in whatever assistance is needed or required. It's important to note that there's been a huge philanthropic effort that is underway, really trying to see how they supplement any funding activity that the city and or others may provide. And so if a family or a household is not eligible for city assistance, United Way will work with them to determine if there are other programs that may be available to assist. Once the service provider receives the referral, they will then work with the family to make sure that whether it's rental, utility, or if a security deposit is needed, that they actually make those payments to the eligible property owner and or utility provider. Next slide. Again, I spoke a little bit about our timeline. The relief fund allocations, that ordinance was introduced to City Council in May. We issued the solicitation on June 5th, with the solicitation being received back in on June 15th. We are doing this under an emergency procurement authorization, and the emergency procurement authorization was issued on June 18th. We, of course, are here today with you speaking through the program, and we'll be with the Finance Executive Committee on tomorrow, but we're in the process of finalizing contract negotiations so that we can move forward with an executed contract and have United Way fully launch the program in July 1. What's important to note is that in fully launching the program, and we've maybe a few days past July 1 with the launch of the program, but in fully launching the program, we're trying to position ourselves to be available as of the middle of July, when we know the courts are slated to open back up and to continue the process of eviction proceedings, and specifically eviction proceedings for families who may be impacted by COVID-19. We will continue this program to December 31st. The requirement is that all funds have to be expended by December 31st. We are programming a midterm program evaluation towards the end of August, beginning of September, just to make sure that we know. We'll be doing the weekly meetings and the monthly discussions, but we want to make sure that we know at all times the status and the progress of the program, and also whether or not an additional need exists. We're working on a very quick time frame, and quite honestly, we have less than 6 months to effectively and efficiently deploy. United Way has proven to be pretty good at quickly deploying funds. In 2010, under the Great Recession, United was selected to administer the State Fresh Start Initiative. That initiative was about a $20 million initiative, and they identified about 100 nonprofit organizations that they had to work with over a course of 7 months, and they were able to serve 17,000 families. Most recently, they're working with the Community Foundation for Greater Atlanta. Since April, they've deployed about $17 million into 320 organizations across the 13-county area, really focusing in on being able to help those organizations, helping families who had emergency assistance or needs as a result of COVID-19. And so they have the track record to be able to move pretty quickly and efficiently and effectively in mobilizing this type of grant program. So thank you again for the opportunity to share with you the deployment strategy as well as the plans to quickly move forward and address a very critical housing need that we know will be faced in our community. We are here to address any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much for the super thorough slide deck and presentation, and for all the work that's gone into this over the last couple of weeks. We're going to start with Ms. Archibong.
And Mr. Chair, I just want to let people know I'm present.
Yes, you are. I apologize. Thank you, Councilman Bond. We'll be joined by May Member Michael Julian Bond, as well as Councilmember J.P. Matsakite, who will be speaking to us on item 29 shortly. Ms. Archibong.
Okay, thanks. I was watching on Facebook, and there's this, 40-second lag time, so it's interesting. Ms. Lee, thank you for that, I would say exhaustive, but that might be rude, overview. And I appreciate you bringing out the big guns, having Mr. Little here. We appreciate all the work that United Way has done. If you mentioned this, and I know we talked about it ahead of time, I've forgotten, what percentage fee is United Way charging?
Yes, ma'am. So we're currently working with United Way. Well, we're currently walking through the budget negotiations, right? The budget negotiations and the contract negotiations right now. What I will say is that for the purposes of this program, the administrative fee for United Way as well as the service providers will not exceed 10% of the grant.
All right. Let me, and you will let us know how those negotiations go. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So the law department's insistent so that we don't have any findings requiring that the funds be used for those persons who've been impacted by COVID and therefore cannot pay their mortgages or rent. How is that established? Do we have standards or something that we measure against to say, okay, this fits and this doesn't fit?
Yes, ma'am. So we're working we literally had a call yesterday with the consultants, Landmark Consultants, to identify different examples of what COVID impacted would look like and what that definition would be for that purpose. And so some of the things that we're looking at from just to be able to determine the family has been impacted by COVID-19 is one, that they've had a job loss as a result of COVID-19, they've had an income reduction, or again, they've been faced with a job loss as a result of having to assume child care so they didn't have any other resources available.
All right. So let us know what those qualifications are too, because you talk about spreading the word. We need to be quick in our communication.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
I noticed that the judicial emergency has been extended. Thank you, Chief Justice Melton, through July 12th. So are we going to be, given your timeline, ready to address their people that are in the queue, even though cases aren't proceeding, they are already lined up and ready to, the clock will start July 13th. So walk through again, you said something about August, but I think some folks may fall through the cracks in July.
So, again, the families will have to be impacted by COVID-19, and what we'll be looking for, and I have my definition in front of me, if I could just go back and read it. What Landmark Consulting has identified as COVID-19 impact are a job loss, furlough or layoff, reduction of work hours or pay, business closures, the need to miss work to care for a homebound, school-aged child or elderly person. And of course, we would have documents to support that, including proof of unemployment benefits, written and signed correspondence from the employer that the employee specifically previously worked for, as well as a copy of any utility bills that would show that increase in utility expenses as a result of the pandemic. One of the things that we're really working hard to do is to move forward with a contract, hopefully no later than next week. Once we have a signed contract, United Way will quickly move forward with selecting service providers. What I will say is United Way is already, they completed this process under the Greater Community Foundation program back in April, and so they pretty much have the template documents as far as applications concerned with service providers, and so they're positioned to move forward pretty quickly. The question is, and I can ask either Milton or Kristen to speak to this, the question will be just making sure we have the consumer outreach available prior to, well, as soon as the contract is signed, making sure that we do consumer outreach so people know exactly who to call and how to apply. I have also myself reached out to Fulton County's Chief Magistrate because I would like to have a call with her, with Judge Kirk, just to explain to her the program that we have underway and the requirements of the program, and also how we can refer persons who would possibly qualify for this assistance to our program as well.
All right. Was someone from United Way going to say something? If not, I have one more thing.
Okay. We can continue.
Nobody?
No, ma'am, we can continue.
Okay, go ahead, Chair.
I'm sorry, Kristen. No, go ahead.
Hi, this is Kristen McCollum, the CFO at United Way. Just to respond to that question in a little more detail, we have a large network of agencies that we work with residents in the city of Atlanta, 100 plus strong. So we will work with them to target, to have targeted outreach. We will also reach out to networks of neighborhood connections to make people aware of the program. This includes various constituents such as houses of worship, coalitions, institutional contacts, etc. We also have a lot of contacts through our 2-on-1 contact system that we will use to target outreach as well, to the City of Atlanta residents. Does that help?
Yes, that's good for me, and I know the outreach will be ongoing. I would think barbershops and hair salons, but I don't know how much activity is going on there now, but I know you have done this before, so that's very reassuring. So thank you for that. Was somebody else saying something? Okay. Ms. Lee, I would recommend that you also reach out to Chief Magistrate Anderson in DeKalb County. It's not like a broken record. Have the Atlanta DeKalb records who would have their case heard in DeKalb County. So please extend that outreach to DeKalb County to help there.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then thank you and I tried to figure out how we could have our customers who have outstanding water and sewer bills to be a part of this, and I understand that's not possible, and I wanted to thank you for your due diligence in researching that for us. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Archibald. I have two questions. We're centered around the service providers and the numbers of them, and then hearing a little bit more about outreach efforts. And CFO McCollum, thank you for that description. Thank you, Mr. Little, for joining as well. Colleagues, if there are no other questions or comments, I will entertain a motion to amend, first of all, to attach Exhibit A.
Move to amend, Smith.
Motion by Smith, which I will second.
Vote is open.
Mr. Bond, do you have access to the online database, or do you want to take your vote vocally?
I will take my vote verbally, though I'm heading towards my location with my laptop.
Okay.
But I would vote in favor.
Appreciate it. That's 5 yeas, 0 nays. The item is attached, and I will make a motion to adopt as amended, or to refer as amended.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Westmoreland, the motion should be to approve as amended.
Then that's the one we'll do. Motion by Westmoreland, second by Smith. Mr. Bond?
Yay. My vote is yay.
Thank you. 5 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable as amended. Thank you, Ms. Lee, and to the rest of folks. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, this item, just for the public's information, item number 1620R4067 and item number 1320-1447 are both dual referrals, so they'll both be sent to the Finance Executive Committee.
Thank you very much. On to item 22.
Item number 22, 20-0-1214, CDP-20-008, an ordinance by Councilmember Cito Winslow, as amended by Community Development Human Services Committee, to adopt the West End Livable Centers Initiative LCI Plan Update 2019, to amend the 2016 Comprehensive Development Plan by incorporating by reference said plan, and for the purposes NPU T&B, Council Districts 4 and 12.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Ms. Lavendier? All right, I will entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Yes.
Motion by Smith, second by Bond.
Vote is open.
5 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable. Item 29.
Item number 29, 20-0-1337, an ordinance by Councilmembers J.P. Massacite and Dustin Hillis, as substituted by Community Development Human Services Committee, amending the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, Section 158-66, subsection B2D, to specify the use of funding from the Tree Trust Fund for maintenance costs related to procured forested land as authorized by subsection 158-66B under Code Section 158-66 Tree Trust Fund and for other purposes, and a substitute was distributed earlier today.
Thank you. Colleagues, I'm going to make a motion in a second to bring forward the substitute. Mr. Massacite is here to discuss the changes that have been made, and then we are going to hold for one final cycle to gather any other input or thoughts or ideas that folks have before taking action on this in July. But I will make a motion to bring forward the substitute.
Second, Smith.
Motion by Westmoreland, second by Smith.
Vote is open.
Mr. Bond?
Yay.
Thank you. 5 yeas, 5 yeas, 0 nays. The substitute is before us. Mr. Massacite.
Thank you very much, Chair Westmoreland. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. This is a substitute that, slightly modifies what was before you, and I've consulted with a lot of different people on this topic. Just to refresh your memory, this is with regard to the Tree Trust Fund, which, as you know, is generated through recompense fees for people chopping down trees and not replacing trees as they should. And we use some of this money to purchase the land at Lake Charlotte, and also to put in a maintenance plan that it was for Lake Charlotte. this legislation really is addressed at the maintenance portion of the funds that would be used from the tree trust fund, and trying to be sure that we are using those in a pretty prudent way, so that we can make these dollars from the tree trust fund go further, and that we can do wonderful things such as the land purchase at Lake Charlotte and other areas throughout the city. And what this legislation would do is to really focus the dollars that are spent from the tree trust fund purely on trees, either purchasing land as we did before, but in terms of the maintenance, that would be focused on trees, removing dead, dying, hazardous trees, taking out invasive species, putting together a stabilization and maintenance plan around those trees. And in prior versions, I had tried to put some guardrails around how much money could be utilized out of the tree trust fund for maintenance. And I spoke with a lot of people to get ideas and thoughts about how to do that. I certainly consulted with our Parks Department, LaShondra Burks, Doug Voss, Alvin Dodson, and got their feedback, as they're the ones who have purview over this. Also spoke with Greg Levine at Trees Atlanta, George Dusenberry, Doyle Anthony at Tree Next Door, to get various perspectives of how to do this. I also got perspective from Councilmember Smith, which was very helpful, and that was really a provision that I had in there before, which was tied to the a percent of the purchase price. And I've removed that provision, and to try to really limit the amount of money that would be used for maintenance to really just the initial stabilization period. This legislation would allow for the dollars to be used during the first 2 years after purchase for tree-specific activities. After that time, frankly, it would be up to council to fund ongoing maintenance programs or programs that would put in other infrastructure into a site that was surrounded by some of these trees. So that's what this does. I wanted to let you know that. A lot of people have had input on this, but I did request from Councilmember Westmoreland that we hold this so that you all can consider it and provide any other feedback or suggestions to this. So I'll leave it at that, and certainly happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Colleagues, any questions or comments?
This is Smith. Aren't we having a hearing Thursday morning?
We are. Thank you for that reminder. We are having a work session on Thursday at 10 a.m. To discuss the next phase of the tree protection ordinance rewrite. So related to, but yeah, related to the paper at hand.
Okay, thank you. Move to hold, Smith.
Motion by Smith to hold, which I will second. If there are no other questions or comments, we can open that vote.
Vote is open. Vote is open.
Really, the only thing left for you to do is you are welcome to
Mr. Bond?
Yay.
Thank you much. 5 yeas, 0 nays. That item is held, and we will take action on July 14th. Thank you, Mr. Mescott, for your work. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember Westmoreland and colleagues.
Our final item of the day is item 32.
Yes, 20-R-4007, CDP-20-022, an amended resolution by Community Development Human Services Committee to transmit the draft development impact fee study and ordinance update capital improvement element CIE amendment to the Atlanta Regional Commission and the Department of Community Affairs in compliance with the requirements of the Georgia Planning Act of 1989 and for other purposes. This item appeared on yesterday evening's second quarter CDP hearing agenda.
Any questions or comments? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve, I guess, as amended.
I think it's just kind of moved to. Okay,
yes.
Sure.
That would be correct. Thank you.
I will second.
Vote is open.
Thank you. Mr. Bond?
Yay.
Here we go. 5 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable as adopted. Colleagues, that is our last item, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Mr.
Smith.
Chair,
Second. Thank you all.
Mr. Chair. Oh, okay. I thought we were going away. No, I just wanted to remark on the passing of the great Connie Curry, who served in the capacity of Human Services Director, which would have been under the purview of this committee. She passed this weekend. Not only was she a former appointee by the late Maynard Jackson, he was also a tremendous civil rights activist. She was a founding member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, a graduate of Agnes Scott. As a white female, she was invaluable to African American student activists, and she was able to blend in with crowds that were often hostile to the students and report on the goings-on in the movement, report on who was arrested. She was involved in the formulation of policy and strategy at SNCC, and of course was a dear friend of my parents, Congressman Lewis, and others who were seminal members of the civil rights movement in the 1960s. You know, she lived in her bungalow house over there on Myrtle Street for many, many years, seen the development and changes in our city for when that Midtown neighborhood was known as Hippie Town to the extravagant, high-end retail neighborhood that it is. She had been involved in many, many parts of the development of the Atlanta Way in Atlanta, and she was a great lady, and she will be sorely missed. And at the council meeting, I would add her name to our moment of silence. I just wanted to give her that recognition, since this committee would have been the committee of purview that she reported to during her service during the Jackson and Young administrations. So thank you for that, Mr. Chair.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Bond. We stand adjourned, everyone. Have a good afternoon.